A new season means a new chapter, and for Lipscomb Academy, it also means new opportunity as the Mustangs get set to embark on the next great era of Lipscomb Academy football with the chance to make a statement against one of Tennessee's top teams. The adversary standing in their way, the back-to-back state champions McCallie Blue Tornado, who look to kick off their quest for a three-peat by knocking off the team that stunned them on this very field just 2 years ago. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and get ready for the ride as we get set to light the fuse for another great season of Mustangs football. We welcome you in live from the Reese Smith Athletic Complex in Nashville, Tennessee, as we are just moments away from kicking off the 2025 season live on the Lipscomb Academy Football YouTube channel. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Brandon Bigsby, alongside my broadcast partner, Gideon. Gideon, it's been a long wait, months of training, months of anticipation, and finally we are here, opening day, just minutes away from kickoff. So much to look forward to and so much to talk about, especially on the side of the Mustangs tonight.
Man, and I'm excited. New season always brings new plays and new faces and so many possibilities. As you said, I mean, this McCallie team and this Lipscomb team, so much history between the two of them and in their own right, respectfully. And, you know, anything could happen tonight as we have a beautiful sunset going on here and some a great turnout here in the student section, and across the field we see the away student section, and this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I just walked outside the booth about 10 minutes ago. The student section was already pretty much filled. As you mentioned, beautiful sunset, the golden hour here in Nashville. Great weather outside as well, just around 86 degrees. Let's talk about this Lipscomb Academy team coming into tonight. They were 4-6 last season, but the big story, so many new faces, a young Lipscomb Academy team. We're going to get to know a lot of these players here for the first time tonight as Jamie Graham begins his second season as the helm. A lot to look forward to and a few players that could very well make a name for themselves against one of the top teams in the state.
Yeah, definitely. So we have senior quarterback J.C. White coming to Lipscomb Academy, obviously from Burwood High School. He's looking to make a great name for himself as he's got a whole new offense to work with and a great receiver, and also senior Cam Blivens.
Yeah, you talk about J.C. White, the quarterback position, such a conversation outside of the Lipscomb Academy building. J.C. White coming in his first start tonight as a Mustang. The big question, what can we expect from him? He came in July, looked great in the two scrimmages that we saw from him against Antioch and Ezell Harding, but now a huge test against a McCallie team that was one of the most stout defenses in Tennessee all of 2024.
Yeah, and Lipscomb Academy definitely looking to come back this year and, you know, get sort of a revenge game as we saw last season, the loss 42-28 from Lipscomb Academy, and, you know, big statement to make here.
Yeah, you talk about McCallie on the other side, the back-to-back state champions looking for their third straight this season. As you mentioned, They got the better of the Mustangs last season, a 42-28 win. The season before that, however, on this very field, the Mustangs saw an undefeated McCallie team. Were down 28-7 at halftime, came roaring all the way back to win that game 34-28. So this has been a highly contested matchup over the last 2 years. What are you expecting from Joel Bradford and this Blue Tornado team on the other side?
I'm expecting some heat, some power, and some football IQ and intelligence on this team. It's a bit of an older squad. This McCallie team has around 25 seniors, so we're looking at a very, very mature team here.
Yeah, and a lot of those seniors getting Division I offers. We'll talk about a few of those names here today, but you look at this Mustangs team, we talked about it, a lot of young faces, first time that they're really getting this in-game action on the big stage. You got all the students coming in, still have fans filing in right now as we speak. We just saw the Mustangs make their entrance onto the field. What do you feel like is going to be important for them? You know the team on the other side, but what do you feel like is going to be the key within the Mustangs huddle to make sure they can show up and get a big win here on the first game of the year?
Right. I mean, obviously, we see here this wonderful home field, and I really think that is going to be the key point in this game is that student section, that home field advantage, really giving that extra boost of energy to this Mustang team. You know, even though they're a young team here, you know, anything can happen.
a young team. We kind of talked about that a little bit. This is a Mustangs team that has a lot of underclassmen, 42 underclassmen this season, 63% of the total roster. And, you know, that experience going to be valuable against this Mustangs team, even if it's against a tough opponent. Going to be a lot of fun to see who can step up outside of some of those seniors that we talked about, like J.C. White and like Cam Blivens, who do you expect to step up?
I mean, so many people. We're going to head into a prayer here.
We welcome you back here to the Reese Smith Athletic Complex as we just had the prayer and the national anthem, and we are just a few minutes away from kicking off this 2025 Mustangs season. Gideon, we were talking a little bit about this Lipscomb team. So many young faces, but you talk about some of the more experienced guys. We talked a bit about J.C. White, the man that has a lot of attention coming into this season, the star wide.
At this time, we direct your attention to midfield for tonight's.
As you look at some of the stats from Blivens from last season, 55 catches, 835 yards with 10 touchdowns, average 15.2 yards per catch. One of the best wide receivers in the state of Tennessee. Expect him to
Cam Blivens
here tonight.
Do we want that plate right now? Do you guys want that? Do you guys want that? Not that.
As the two teams get set here, they meet up for the coin toss at midfield. As the Blue Tornado will win the toss, they'll elect to receive, so we'll see the McCallie offense to start out things today, with the Mustangs defense starting out and kicking things off on the other side. Gideon, it's finally here, man. We've been waiting, we've been prepping for it. I know we've been anticipating it, but these two teams on these respective sidelines, they have been chomping at the bit since April to get to this very moment. It's finally here. High school football is finally back.
I'm so excited, Brandon, and I'm very nervous and waiting and anticipating this this football, because as we see this McCallie team has a historically great offense, and we're looking to see if they can continue it this year. as last year we saw them average 32 points per game, something absolutely wild coming out of a football team who doesn't rely totally on the passing game.
Yeah, and you talk about that explosive McCallie offenses. They make their entrance onto the field. They are headed by head coach Joel Bradford, his second season as the McCallie head coach, went 11-2 last year in his first season. He also serves as McCallie's offensive coordinator, has for the past 6 seasons, and he, as you mentioned, has led the charge on what has been one of the best offenses in the state of Tennessee. McCallie averaged 36 points per game and won 4 straight championships during Bradford's time as offensive coordinator. Continued that last season. Expect them to be a big play machine tonight that the Mustangs are going to have to be weary of.
Yeah, and that's something unheard of out of a high school team, just absolutely obliterating competition in this state and doing it with class. As I mentioned earlier, not the best, not the most voluminous passing offense last season, but we do see number 12, Elliot Drapeau, the senior this year, at quarterback on McCallie, and so we'll see how he's developed over this past season and see what he can get done here on this field.
Bradford quite high on how Drapeau has developed over the offseason. He will get a look at his starting quarterback to start this game out. The 10th grader Tyler Guinness will kick things off for the Mustangs. Back to receive for the McCallie Blue Tornado will be Loya Valad and Keyshawn Tabuto as Guinness kicks it off, and we are underway for the 2025 season as Tabuto kicks it and gets it from the 2-yard line. He's wrapped up and brought down after a gain of about 20 as the Mustangs special teams did a nice job there, and a late flag thrown over by the 20-yard line. We'll see what the call is.
And great coverage there on the kickoff. That's a speedy one right there. Just push them to the edge, push them to the outside, and then chop it off.
Officials discussing over by the 20. The flag was thrown right at the end of the play.
This is 0 and 10.
And it looks like the Mustangs are moving back. They're gonna say there was a personal foul call against Lipscomb. It looked like there was potentially a push on the sideline there at the end of that play. Officials caught it, and now will push McCallie up an extra 15 yards.
Yeah, and that's just, beginning of the game nerves,
Oh, it's this person.
anything could happen, really.
Elliot Drapeau, the starting quarterback for McCallie. First play under center, hands it off to the halfback. That's Chris Lloyd. He gets a nice burst to the right side. He's finally wrapped up at around the 44-yard line. And McCallie starting out with a big gain on that run from Chris Lloyd. Expect him to step up. Coming in for Keelan Siam, who was the senior halfback last year to Gashly Mustangs.
Yeah, and it's something to live up to, as rushing game from McCallie last season, absolutely insane. This year, obviously, they have another young prospect in Lloyd, who is a specimen.
And it was all about the run game in this matchup last season for McCallie. 206 of their 310 yards came on the ground, including 5 of their 6 touchdowns. As Lloyd gets the handoff again, he is swallowed up at around the 40-yard line. We'll call that a gain of about 3. Second down coming up.
Much better job there by the Mustangs, wrapping them up early, get that early contact in, and get him down. He did get a bit of yardage, but, as long as you're improving, it's good to see.
Looked like Beck Woodside had his helmet come off during that play, so he'll have to trot off the field for one play. Mustangs make a quick switch as McCallie gets their offense set. Drapeau, screen pass to Tabuto, couldn't get a handle on that, and it falls incomplete.
Naaman on the coverage. Great job there, closing that off. Could have possibly gotten a deflection and almost got a pick there.
You mentioned Trip Naaman being there on that play. He's going to be somebody to look out for. One of the veterans in the secondary, had an interception and a special teams touchdown a season ago. Leads all returners in both tackles and tackles for loss. He's going to be someone to look out for, number 19 in purple. 2 wide receivers set to each side. Third down coming up here from McCallie, 7 yards to gain. Drapeau down the middle of the field and caught. Puts on a move. That's Levi Scott in the end zone. Touchdown, McCallie.
There it is. That's the aspect I was talking about before this game. Drapeau developed over the offseason, and now he's bringing his A game here in week 1.
The freshman wideout Levi Scott, a 41-yard touchdown reception in the Blue Tornado just 5 plays in. strike first, a 6-0 score with 10:47 to play here in the first quarter.
And here we have the extra point.
Ben Brewer, the junior, to kick this one. Clean snap, clean hold, and right down the middle. A 7-0 lead for McCallie after a 5-yard drive. Things started out promising for the Mustangs on the special teams, but a penalty gave McCallie a quick 15 yards. Chris Lloyd with a 20-plus yard run to get McCallie past midfield, and a 41-yard touchdown on a 3rd and 7. Elliot Drapeau, his first pass of the season, finding his young freshman receiver for 6.
Yeah, and we see a bunch of negatives on that play, I know, but we also see positives. A very, very up and down drive there, and we see some good aspects from the Mustangs, like that first pass attempt, great coverage, everybody locked in. Trip Naiman, wonderful job, and just kind of lost Scott there in the middle of the field. It's going to happen sometimes. You're going to have to look at the film, correct yourself, and move on.
So we'll see what the Mustangs learn from that drive on the defensive side of the ball, but we will get to see this offense come out on the field, barring a kickoff return or fumble. We talked about the special teams. It'll be 2 new returners for the Mustangs this season, both Bo Strickland and Drew Patterson graduating. As looks like set back to return it will be Z Crockett along with Drew Dolioki. Ben Brewer will boot this one away from McCallie. As Brewer kicks this one off, nice hang time as it'll be taken by Dolioki from the 1-yard line. Goes to the right side, tries to evade a tackler, but is wrapped up out of bounds at the 16-yard line. And that is where J.C. White and the Mustangs offense will set up shop. We talked about J.C. White, the transfer from Brentwood coming in. Hasn't been in this program long, but you wouldn't think it with the way he looked over the scrimmages. Very impressive QB with his first drive as the Mustang signal caller.
Very impressive and very fast. We saw his escapability in those scrimmages a couple weeks ago, obviously with that new offensive line. And he's looking good.
White with 1,100 passing yards last season, 5 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Also had 261 yards on the ground. Receiver in motion, White under pressure, escaping, evades one defender and just tries to dump that off to Z Crockett, but it falls harmlessly to the ground, incomplete.
That's what I was just mentioning, that escapability and mobility in the pocket obviously didn't result in a gain there, but didn't result in a loss either.
That was Jaden Hudgens-Key, the senior defensive lineman that brought the pressure. 2nd down and 10 coming up now for Lipscomb Academy. You talk about this Mustangs team, a lot of that senior experience comes on the offensive side of the ball. You mentioned J.C. White, Cam Blivens, Z Crockett in the backfield as well, so a lot of that experience on the offensive side of the ball. Can it hold serve here? Trips to the left side for White. Screen pass over to Cam Blivens, evades one defender and evades another. Blivens up the left side. Blivens with a block. Cam Blivens gets past one. Cam Blivens down the sideline, and he is shoved out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Cam Blivens, Mr. Tennessean Athlete of the Year himself, gets a big gain and a 1st down for the Mustangs.
Looking at it from here, it looks like he's covered in some cooking oil or something. They cannot get a hold of him. He's absolutely flying down the sideline after he avoided about 2 or 3 tackles near the line of scrimmage.
And hold on the hype, Gideon. It looks like it is coming back. A penalty called against the Mustangs. So the big play from Blivens negated with a holding call.
That's unfortunate because now that surprise factor is gone. See what we can come back with here.
We talked about Blivens during the pregame. 55 catches a season ago, 835 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's a 3-sport athlete. Star football player, star basketball player, also does well in track. Somebody that is as versatile as they come. You saw some of that there, but unfortunately for the Mustangs, that play negated. 2nd and 11 coming up as White under pressure. Screen pass to the left side. That's Manoah Crockett who gets it to just a little bit past the line of scrimmage.
When he went on.
And now it'll be a 3rd down and 11 now coming up. No gain on the play official.
Jack and Jonathan. Jackie Johnson.
That a really well play covered there by the McCallie defense. As you saw, that quick pressure forces the throw out to the flat. And just, man, bodies there, and you get them out of bounds there early.
10-16 to play here in the first quarter. McCallie were able to strike first on a 5-play drive. They lead 7-0. Mustangs with a 3rd and 11 coming up. White looking right, scrambles, throws it deep, finds Dante Fowler. Mustangs want a flag. They're not going to get it, however.
And Brandon, I think if a ref is over there, he sees that early contact.
Over at the left sideline. Looked like the corner got there a little bit early towards Dante Fowler. We'll see what the official call is. It was right in that vicinity, but at the other sideline. So we'll see what the officials call. And it looks like they're going to pick up that flag and say it was all clean. So 4th down coming up, and it looks like the Mustangs are going to punt this one away.
Yeah, an unfortunate break there for the Mustangs, but, I mean, nothing you can do about it. Honestly, if I'm a coach here, I'm saying we had mistakes earlier in the drive. Fix those. Those missed calls don't happen, and we're moving on. We're moving on.
So a 3 and out for Lipscomb Academy, which means Tyler Guinness will come out and punt this one away. Guinness gets it off clean. Back to return. This is Keyshawn Tabuteau, who's going to let this one take a nice roll. Still going. Nice punt there from Guinness from the 11-yard line, as it is going to finally take a halt at the McCallie 38-yard line. So a nice boot there from Tyler McGinnis, and that is where McCallie will start out their 2nd drive of the game. Their 1st drive about as successful as I think Coach Bradford could have asked for. 5 plays and a quick score, a 41-yard touchdown reception by the freshman wideout Levi Scott. You mentioned something earlier, Gideon. How do the Mustangs respond? It looks like Jamie Graham going to get that answer rather quickly here from his defense.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely is a small chance and a small opportunity to go look and see on that film what's going on, and so we'll see what happens here on this drive.
Trapeau hands it off to the halfback Xavier Filion, who is stopped right at around the line of scrimmage, gets a gain of 1, 2nd and 9 now coming up.
Great job by the defensive line there. As you can see, he had a little bit of an outside zone to run there, and early contact helping him, bringing him down.
Now with Jackson Whaley with the tackle. He started a few games for the Mustangs last season at edge, someone that Lipscomb Academy hoping can take that next step up. Made some flashes last season. The young sophomore. Trapeau, screen pass over to Filion to the right side. Filion up the sideline, evades a few tackles, gets the 1st down, and is tackled right around midfield. So McCallie continues to move their way down the field as they get their 3rd 1st down already early in this contest.
And there's one of their guys you got to watch out for, Filion. Great receiver there. And obviously some essence of Cam Blivens we saw there from him, as he just could not be tackled there. Obviously met around the line. It's going to be a 1st down anyway.
Filion, a junior, 5'10", 197 pounds, brings a lot of explosiveness out of that backfield transfer from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. As he gets the handoff again, a nice gain. He's tackled at the 41-yard line, a gain of 9 for Xavier Filion.
Another great run there from McCallie. See what Lipscomb can do here to close up that middle.
Under 9 minutes to play, McCallie up by a touchdown and moving down the field. 2 wilds to the left side, 1 to the right. Trapeau hands it off. This time it is to Chris Lloyd, who is wrapped up by the ankles at around the 33. So another McCallie 1st down, a gain of 8 on the play.
There you see it again. That offensive line of McCallie just pushing like oxes out the way of the defensive line of the Mustangs, and they find another hole.
And the offensive line, that is one of the strengths of this McCallie team. Musa Sek, Jaden Huggins-Key, Daniel Sapicki, all players on that line who have had Division I offers or getting Division I offers. That is one of the strengths of that Blue Tornado team, is they get a 1st down coming up from the 33. Trapeau hands it off to Lloyd. Nice move up the middle as he's going to get his way to close to that 1st down marker. We'll see where they officially spot him, but a gain of at least 9 yards there for Chris Lloyd.
Another good job of getting those gaps up the middle for the running back as that offensive line just moving lumber.
And we talked about this game last season. McCallie dominated the run game. Again, 206 of their 310 yards came on the ground. 5 of their 6 touchdowns were rushing as well. So this was the game plan for McCallie last season. They have transported it well so far to 2025. Drapeau to throw, flag on the field, wide open receiver in the end zone, caught, touchdown McCallie, but we'll have to await the flag. It was Mikey Bartlett, the sophomore wideout, who hauled it in. But will it stand? It will not. That one is coming back. 5-yard penalty against McCallie, so knock off the score and make it 1st down and 15. A break there for Lipscomb Academy.
Yeah, definitely a break there, as you saw wide open in the end zone was that wide receiver, and another great throw from Drapeau.
Drapeau hasn't had to sling it too much tonight, just a couple of throws, but when he's had the opportunity, he has made the most of it. Another throw downfield that nearly led to a score, but the penalty negates it. And it's 1st down and long now coming up for the Blue Tornado. 7:25 to play here in quarter number 1.
First time they've faced something like this. Let's see how they react.
Drapeau hands it off to the halfback, Filion. He has stood up at the line of scrimmage.
Beautiful job.
That is Z Crockett, who's doing a little defensive work this time around with the wrap-up tackle. 2nd and long now coming up.
Tank on offense and a tank on defense, as he absolutely wrapped him up. Almost no gain there.
And Z Crockett, we haven't seen him take any defensive snaps in the past. The senior tailback who has been phenomenal in that backfield over the last couple of years, but getting some reps at linebacker and making a play there. 2nd and 12 coming up. Drapeau back to throw. Airs it out deep towards the left side. Has his man caught. End zone. Touchdown McCallie. Levi Scott doubles it up in the 1st quarter.
Yeah, and another just evidence of that development there from Drapeau, as you see that mature decision-making and that consistent throw right into the palms of his receivers.
A 13-0 lead early for the Blue Tornado. As they get set for the extra point, this is Ben Brewer set to kick it. As Brewer's extra point, no doubt about it, right down the middle. An early 14-0 lead for McCallie. They had a touchdown negated, but it didn't matter. 2 plays later, Levi Scott, for the 2nd time today, finds the end zone, and the Mustangs find themselves in a bit of a hole early, but we've seen them fight back from these deficits a couple of times against this team. Did so last season early on in that game. Obviously, we mentioned the 2023 result, coming back from 28-7 to eventually win that game. So Lipscomb Academy, familiar territory, not going to get too rattled yet, but obviously going to hope to turn the tides here with an offensive drive coming up.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that comeback from Lipscomb Academy 2 seasons ago, I was at this game, actually. I remember, many things happening over that first half, and, man, we lost faith. And then the second half started, and we were like, something's going on here. Something special.
In the air.
Something special. We said, we are staying at this game because we do have a little hope left in our Mustangs. And you know what? It was worth it, and we came out in the second half and absolutely balled out on that comeback win. I believe it was 35-28. Second half shutout, by the way.
As Brewer set to kick this off from McCallie, it's Z Crockett and Nick Pointer back to return this. A senior and a freshman. As Brewer boots this one away, Pointer will get it at the goal line. He'll take this one out. Pointer gets a couple of blocks, loses it, and it's picked up.
Wow.
By Caleb Grooms, a scary about 10th of a second there for the Mustangs, but Caleb Grooms, the junior defensive back, Johnny on the spot, keeps the possession for the Mustangs, and J.C. White and the Lipscomb Academy offense will start out the drive on the 26-yard line.
And that's just one of those instances. I mean, you have a young player there, gets in a little bit of an awkward position, finds somebody's hand on him where he's not used to, and the ball gets loose. Fortunate for the Mustangs to keep that one.
6:23 to play in quarter number 1. The Mustangs down by 14, but they have their second possession of the game. coming up here now. Manoah Crockett in the backfield with J.C. White, 2 wide receivers out to his left side. That's Dante Fowler and Cam Blivens, the 2 senior wideouts over there. As the officials blow the play dead, looks like there is a flag thrown over at the 44-yard line in McCallie territory as it's delay a game. And those are the penalties that as a head coach drive you nuts. You don't have the momentum on your side right now. You're trying to get something going. And first play of your second possession, you're already starting out a little bit behind the 8 ball.
For the Mustangs here, I think you're looking towards that screen pass area. So we saw that work out well. And another flag.
There was some movement there on the line of scrimmage. We'll see if it's against the Mustangs or the Blue Tornado. And they're going to call it a false start against Lipscomb Academy. So now knock them back 5 more yards. So from 1st and 10 on the 26 to 1st and 20 on the 16. And it looks like head coach Jamie Graham and company, they want to gather themselves here and talk things over. They're going to call a timeout, their first of the half.
Wise decision, obviously, by Jamie Graham. And we'll see what he hypes these men up to do. Here is difficult positions they've been put in.
You talked a little bit about Elliot Drapeau over on the other side, the starting quarterback for this McCallie team. His head coach, Joel Bradford, he raved about the potential development, the step up that he could see in his senior season. Bradford said in an interview with the Chattanooga Times, he's gotten a lot stronger and a lot faster over the offseason. He's worked on his mechanics to become a better passer. I think he will really take a step forward as a leader. And so far, 2 drives in, 2 touchdowns. Drapeau has looked the part so far of what his head coach expected him to be this year.
He definitely has a great coach they have in Joel Bradford, and I'm sure he knows this player very well as he's been working with him for his whole career at this point. And yeah, I mean, just a wonderful opportunity he had, and you know, great guy, great player. We'll see what happens with the rest of this game as here the Mustangs come out again. Start of this drive now, first play.
Same formation, 2 wiles to the left side, Manoah Crockett in the backfield, and he'll get the handoff from White. He is wrapped up right around the line of scrimmage, maybe gains a yard. As it'll be 2nd and long coming up here for Lipscomb Academy. They'll officially spot him at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, not exactly what you want there on first down. But, I mean, this is just all about the, you know, practice and failure, and then you learn. You know, you got to make mistakes to get better, and this is what's happening on this drive right now. See how 2nd down is going.
White under pressure, dumps it off to Crockett. Manoah Crockett up the left sideline, stiff arms the tackler, and is wrapped up at the 29-yard line. So a gain of 12 makes it 3rd and manageable coming up. Manoah Crockett, the younger brother of Z Crockett, sophomore in that backfield that's looking to take a step up. I know he was really excited to be able to play on the team with his brother for the first time, making a nice impact so far early in this game.
I mean, that's just a beautiful opportunity for him and a rare one that we don't see often in the game of football, and something really special that should be cherished.
3rd and 9 coming up, ball on the 27-yard line. 5:35 to play. White with 2 wiles to the right, 1 to the left. Looking to throw, scrambles. White under pressure, stutter steps, evades Hudgens Key. White still looking, has plenty of time. Airs one out middle of the field, finds a man, and Dante Fowler past midfield. First down, Mustangs. J.C. White showing off the mobility.
J.C. White, I mean, back and forth, and he finds it on that latter 4th. And what a throw. Cross body in the air. A beam to Dante Fowler, and here we go.
Mustangs running pace, a quick little pitch out to Langston Jordan as he is brought down after about a gang of 1. They'll mark him down officially at the 43-yard line, so 2nd down and 8 coming up in McCallie territory. Mustangs looking to run quick once again, bunch set. Jordan in motion, White fakes the handoff. White under pressure, evades a tackler, throws it towards Jordan, but could not hit him.
He almost did it again. That would have been astronomically insane if I had seen that ball get into the hands of Langston Jordan. He goes down the sideline. He's got about 15 yards of space with nobody there.
Langston Jordan, actually Kobe Grigsby, the 10th grade wide receiver. So Kobe Grigsby was the one that got that pitch out and was the intended receiver on that play. So 3rd down and 8 coming up, but J.C. White, he's playing a little backyard football right now. He's running around, evading, improvising, and making a couple of plays off of it. We'll see what he has in his bag of tricks here. He needs 8 yards to gain. 2 wiles to the left side, and Blivens and Fowler. White dumps off to Manoa Crockett. Crockett tackled at around the 38-yard line. He's going to be short of the line to gain. And an interesting decision coming up here for head coach Jamie Graham. 4th down and 6 coming up.
Tackle by number 4, Gabe Abercrombie.
That was Gabe Abercrombie with the tackle for McCallie.
Abercrombie, just a great job of form there, wrapping him up, just going for the legs, or the ankles rather, and just, bring him together. Can't run, so there you go.
Not even a thought for Jamie Graham. He keeps his offense out on the field. 4th down and 6 from the McCallie 41.
Yeah, you need something here.
White looking left. Airs it out, has a man, and it's caught. That's Grigsby down the sideline and shoved out of bounds at the 16-yard line. A 25-yard passing play to Kobe Grigsby, and the Mustangs get a 1st down and are in red zone territory.
And just a wonderful throw there to just float it over that defensive back from J.C. White and get Grigsby into that open space.
Ball officially marked down at the 17. 1st down coming up here for the Mustangs. As it looks like the officials stopped play and are discussing something, potentially the marker. And it looks like things are set and ready to go now. Bunch set for Lipscomb Academy. Hand off to Z Crockett up the middle. Gets a nice shove from a couple of his offensive linemen for a short gain. They'll officially give him 2 yards, so 2nd down and 8 coming up from the 15. 4:23 to play in the 1st quarter. McCallie up 14-0. A pair of touchdown receptions from Levi Scott. But Lipscomb Academy moving down the field and now knocking on the door, looking for their 1st score of this contest. As Z Crockett comes out, his brother Manoa comes in.
Crucial thing here is getting in those fresh bodies here is where the Mustangs are enduring a long drive. And just a little waiting, it looks like we got another stoppage here.
Yeah, the Mustangs going to call a timeout. That play clock was all the way down to about 5 seconds, and they weren't even set at the line of scrimmage. 2nd timeout of the half taken by the Mustangs. Let's talk a little bit about J.C. White. Obviously, that first drive didn't go the way you would have hoped. Was killed a little bit by that big play on Cam Blivens that was called back for a penalty. But this second drive, a couple of escapes, a couple of big throws, one to Dante Fowler, one to Kobe Grigsby. And all of a sudden, Lipscomb Academy has a little bit of momentum, and they find themselves knocking on the door of their 1st score of the season.
Yeah, and you know what I call that, Brandon? I call that getting used to new colors and shaking off that rust. J.C. White, he starts off a little slow there, but he's definitely getting into a rhythm, and he's showing his greatness and his escapability and mobility and his throws on the run. Absolute darts here early.
As you see us inside the studio, a big shout out to the Lipscomb Academy broadcasting team, putting on everything you're seeing on this broadcast behind the scenes. An amazing student crew that we have here operating everything. As the Mustangs are back out on the field and set to snap this 2nd and 8 coming up from the 15. Manoa Crockett in motion, gets the handoff from Cam Blivens, who was the quarterback on that play. Crockett with no room to run. He's wrapped up behind the line. A trio of Blue Tornado defenders on the tackle. And that's going to be a loss of 4. 3rd down and 12 coming up. He's marked down at the 19-yard line.
And this is going to be one of those plays that you're going to have multiple options on, obviously. You're going to be looking, if you're J.C. White, towards those linebackers and towards that defensive line. Where's the blitz coming from? Dictates exactly what side you should throw it to. Or we'll see. When we could go for the run here and just surprise everybody.
3rd and 12 coming up. J.C. White back under center for the Mustangs. White fakes the handoff. Looking left. Airs it out middle of the field, and it's going to be intercepted in the end zone. It's picked off by Deshaun Tipton, who had an interception against the Mustangs last season. A turnover in the red zone for Lipscomb Academy. And right when the Mustangs thought they had something rolling, the McCallie defense steps up in the end zone with an interception.
Yeah, and that's just a case of, for Tipton picking up where he left off, first of all. And, I mentioned earlier that rust from the offseason. Maybe it's still got a little bit on his shoulder. That's okay. Working through it is okay. Like I said earlier, you got to make mistakes to get better, and this is just part of it.
And I think if you're Jamie Graham, you would have loved to have seen J.C. White. If you didn't see anything, throw that ball away. At least give your field goal kicker a chance to get some points on the board. But like you said, early season, you're going to make some of those mistakes, especially your first game in the new offense. Drapeau airing it out deep, has a man, and it's caught down the sideline. Guess who? Levi Scott yet again. It's a foot race as he's brought down and chased from behind by Trip Naiman, but a huge gain from Levi Scott, the freshman making a name for himself tonight.
Yeah, and if you're his parents, you're probably screaming at the screen right now. That's an absolutely amazing job from him on the sideline, and great pull in and great run after the catch. And, helping out his team in a big way here early.
That is a 66-yard reception from Levi Scott. He's over 100 yards tonight with 2 touchdowns. Drapeau gets the low snap, airs it out to the end zone to Tabito, but he could not hit him. Falls incomplete. Second down coming up.
Yeah, looking back shoulder there, he didn't really recognize the fact that his receiver's already kind of backpedaling there, and so not the best throw to make there. Maybe want to keep it a little bit towards the front shoulder and where your receiver's already facing.
And it's so crazy how momentum can shift in just a couple of plays. The Mustangs are knocking on the door. They're in the red zone. You think they might get that touchdown coming up. All of a sudden, an interception, one big play from McCallie's offense, and the Blue Tornado staring down a potential 3-possession lead as they hand off to Chris Lloyd. He's stuffed after about a gain of 2, so a third down now coming up for McCallie.
Yeah, and this is where you got to get your beefy guys in there and stop the run, as that's usually the selected pick here to run on offense here in the red zone, and it's about 10 yards towards that goal line.
The senior linebacker Beck Woodside made the tackle. 3rd down and 7 coming up. Mustangs looking to hold strong here. As Drapeau scrambles left, going to take off and run. Drapeau scampers his way into the end zone. Touchdown, McCallie.
Drapeau just a great job there. Obviously, he had the option to pitch it to the left to his running back. Decides to keep it himself and finds a hole and a gap and makes it into the end zone.
It's a 20-0 score in favor of McCallie. They take advantage of the J.C. White interception. And Elliot Drapeau uses his feet, runs it in for an 8-yard score. And now it'll be Ben Brewer on the PAT for the 3rd time. And he nails it. 21-0 now, your score with 1:18 to play in quarter number 1. Gideon, not the start that the Mustangs are hoping for, but again, still a lot of time left, a lot of football still to play. Lipscomb Academy going to obviously hope to turn the momentum back on their side. Saw some good things on that offensive drive up until that turnover. Got to look towards those positives and try to turn that into a touchdown this next drive around.
Yeah, definitely. As we saw that, the mobility. I keep on saying it, but I'm going to keep on saying it. I know you might be tired of hearing it, but J.C. White, he's our guy, and he's great at moving around the pocket and moving around in that backfield and finding those open receivers, whether on the run or just standing in the pocket. Somebody we haven't seen just yet today is Cam Blivens. He is our senior receiver wearing number 7. Just not really showing up yet in this game.
Yeah, Blivens, he had that big play earlier on that first possession of the game. Got all the way past midfield, was about a 23-yard reception, but was called back due to a holding play. Other than that, Blivens has not been able to get too much going yet so far. But again, still the first quarter, and Blivens someone that has been as reliable as any receiver in the state of Tennessee over the past year. As Brewer said to kick this off, Z. Crockett and Dante Fowler back to return it. Fowler going to let this one fall into the end zone for a touchback, and the Mustangs will start this new possession out on the 20-yard line.
And here we go. This is where we see what the Mustangs are made of. Where is their fight? We should see it here. We might see it in the second half like we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, and again, this is a Mustangs team that they've been down in some big deficits in the past against this team, have been able to claw their way back. We mentioned the comeback a couple of seasons ago. They found themselves down 21-7 in the game against McCallie last year, tied that game up. McCallie ended up winning it at the end, but this is a team that has that fight back, has that resilience, something that could come up key here with, again, still a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, so here we go. Motion in the backfield.
J.C. White with Z. Crockett in the backfield with him as the officials blow this dead, a flag thrown towards midfield. As it's another delay of game, second time we've seen that from the Mustangs tonight. Now knock them back 5 yards. That's identically what happened at the second drive. It started out with a delay of game and then was followed by a false start.
Yep. So here we go. Here's what we're looking at. Campbell Evans up here on the top of your screen.
J.C. White going to hand this off to Z. Crockett. Z. Crockett would have burst through the middle. Gets back some of that yardage from the penalty. Is knocked down at the 20. 5-yard gain for Crockett. Second down coming up.
5-yard gains doesn't look like a lot, but I'll tell you it is. And it's a great play when you can get that many yards on a run, especially up the middle. Very saturated with defenders. A very good run.
Less than a minute to go here in the first quarter. Mustangs looking to crawl their way out of this early hole. 21-0 lead for the Blue Tornado of McCallie. White going to hand this off to Z. Crockett. Bounces to the outside. Crockett with a cut and is wrapped up at the 30-yard line. That was Deshaun Tipton who got the interception on the last play, who was first there.
First down there from Z. Crockett, and you see him just assessing the backs of his offensive linemen, making the decision to bounce outside, and it turns out to be a good one.
This is a good way to settle your offense in, get that run game going, rely on your steady, reliable senior back. As it's going to be a pitch out to Kobe Grigsby. Has some speed up the left side, but he's chopped down at the 25-yard line. That was Miles Williams, the sophomore.
Yeah, and those jet sweep plays, I mean, they're always going to be a gamble. If you get caught early on those, not going to be the best. If you don't get caught early, big gains are usually had. This time, just not as fortunate.
And Kobe Grigsby, he has stepped up and made a few big plays tonight. Unfortunately, on that one, a loss of 5. So second down and 15, ball on the 26. That will end the first quarter. Mustangs trailing here early, a 21-0 deficit against McCallie. They'll have the ball on their own 26-yard line here.
And it looks like we're going to go down to the field for an interview.
Okay, hello, Lipscomb Academy Mustangs. Today we are here with Brad Schultz. Now, Dr. Brad Schultz, how are we feeling so far?
Well, I mean, obviously we didn't get off to the best start, but I hope the kids are staying encouraged and not, 3 more quarters to go, so feel pretty good.
Of course, of course. Now, what's been your favorite part of the game so far?
Well, I mean, this is crazy. It's the first game of the season, right? The weather feels amazing for Friday night. It's early. But just being out here in general, student body up there.
Love the student body.
It's just
love the student body.
Yeah.
Shout out Stable Game. Now, if there's one thing that you could tell all players right now, what would it be?
Yeah, just stay confident. Don't worry about the scoreboard. One play, one drive, one score at a time. Just stay confident.
Love it. Do you think we can come back?
Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks. Go Mustangs.
And thank you, Jack Keys, for that wonderful interview with the head of school, Brad Schultz, as we are almost ready to get back underway here. Obviously, we'll switch sides of the field beginning the second quarter.
And the Mustangs going to hope that the second quarter brings them a little bit more fortune than the first. They trail 21-0 here early. Had some flashes both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, but still looking to put together that first complete drive. Let's see if they can do it here on their third possession of the game. White fakes the handoff. White thinking big, airs it out, has Blivens. He gets the jump ball! Caught by Blivens at the 41!
What did I say? Who haven't we seen? Campbell Evans, and there he is. Wonderful football player, wonderful receiver, and how about that throw from J.C. White?
Over 30 yards on the Cam Blivens reception. You know he was bound for one, and he gets one there. First down, Mustangs. What a way to start the second quarter.
And how about the coaching from that on that decision? You know, what you've been doing hasn't been working out, so let's change it up and let's go deep.
Trips to the right side for Lipscomb Academy. Cam Blivens, lone wide receiver, out to the left. White to throw. Looking in Blivens' direction. He wants it all. He has him, and it's caught. Blivens pushed out towards the pylon. He lost it. They're going to rule him down at the 1-yard line. And that's a good thing for Blivens, because if that ball fell in the end zone and went out of bounds, it would have been a touchback. But it is a big gain, a 40-yard reception to Cam Blivens. Mustangs have the ball, first and goal on the 2.
And Brendan, it's like I summoned him. He just all of a sudden starts going off here. Once I mentioned he hasn't been going off. It's almost like he was listening to the stream and he was like, okay, Gideon, I'm just gonna call for every single ball and I'm gonna catch every single ball.
First and goal, I formation for the Mustangs. White pitches it out to Z Crockett. He is met and stopped in the backfield. Malachi Jacob, the defensive back, read that one. A loss of 4, second and goal now coming up.
Minor setback there for the Mustangs, as you'll see. All you need on the goal line and in this, or should I say inside 10-yard lines, is just a little gap. Get that momentum, get that push through, and you can get past that goal line pretty easily.
And how about this formation? 3 in the backfield along with J.C. White. Blivens, the lone receiver to the right side. White hands it off to Z Crockett. Crockett pushing forward, gets some of that yardage back on the previous loss.
Crockett just hitting that little gap between those two defenders and gets his yardage back. And a little bit more too, I believe.
Yeah, it'll officially call it a gain of 3. So third and goal from the 3-yard line coming up. Mustang is going to go quickly. Same formation. Hand off to Crockett. Up the middle. Touchdown, Mustangs!
Like I mentioned earlier, the tank himself, Z Crockett.
First touchdown of the season for the Lipscomb Academy Mustangs, and it comes from the tailback, Z Crockett. He had 5 last season, 6 his sophomore year, his 12th career touchdown right there on that play. And he gets the Mustangs right back in this game, a 21-6 score, with the extra point coming up from Tyler Guinness.
And how about the resilience there by the Mustangs? As that drive started off with a couple flags, 1 or 2, don't really recall, but the Mustangs, I said it before this drive, the fight, well, we're going to see it, and there's the extra point. It's up, and it's good.
Clean extra point from Tyler Guinness, and the Mustangs are on the board, a 21-7 score. An 85-yard drive there from Lipscomb Academy. It started out with that penalty that you mentioned. They roam all the way down the field, a couple of big plays there from Cam Blivens, and all of a sudden Lipscomb Academy finds themselves back in this game as it looks like we have a player down for the Mustangs. I believe that's Jacob Christ that's being tended to. As Jacob Christ gets off his feet and he walks under his own power. Good to see. So the Mustangs strike back. They cut the deficit down to 14, a 21-7 score as you mentioned. Z Crockett, a 3-yard rushing score to cap off that big drive. And you know, Gideon, obviously, the first drive at 3 and out. Second drive looked promising, ended with an interception in the end zone. Third time the charm, however, to get that touchdown. And really, up until the interception, that second drive looked quite similar. So the Mustangs have to feel good about what their offense has been able to do. Now the question, can the defense tally a couple stops to really get the Mustangs back into this ballgame?
Exactly. That is the question. And as you said, I mean, the offense really found a way, and they found their spot here and their plays. Let's see if the defense can match that.
Guinness set to kick this one off. Keyshawn Tabuteau and Loya Valad, the 2 receivers, back to return this for the Blue Tornado. Guinness, the lefty, boots this one away. It's going to be taken by Valad at the 14-yard line. Valad with some blocks. Cuts upfield to the left side. Valad is on the move. Valad up the sideline. Valad going to be chased from behind and shoved out of bounds inside Lipscomb Academy territory. So a nice play there from the junior Loya Valad, and that is where Elliot Drapeau and the McCallie offense will set things up. They'll mark him down officially at the 48-yard line.
And not to go without a mention there as Trip Naiman on the great chase down. He
Got a few tonight.
Yeah, he got beat on the outside there and just kept on running, and he was faster, and he got there, and he wrapped him up.
Yeah, and there's few players that you'll see hustle more than Tripp Naaman. He's someone that has a lot of athleticism at that safety spot, plays special teams as well. Had a touchdown on special teams last season. Makes a play there. First play of the new drive from McCallie. Drapeau going deep to Tabuto. It's intercepted! Picked off! That's Cam Blivens! He's going down the sideline and is tripped up at the 35. Super Cam on both sides of the balls. Flags are flying as there was a little bit of talking on the sideline, but the interception will stand as it was after the play.
Cam Blivens, I mean, everybody thought in this room that he was going to be done catching balls. Now that we were on defense, he said, no, actually, I'm going to catch some more. In fact, I'm going to catch this one right here. And now, what a defensive play here by the Mustangs as we got it back. And another opportunity to score as we see the Mustangs an opportunity to do what they did last drive.
And let's see where they mark it officially. Again, there were some flags at the end of that play, potentially an unsportsmanlike conduct. And it is going to go against the Mustangs, a personal foul, so that'll negate the return back a few yards. They'll knock it back to the 24-yard line. But Cam Blivens, the star wideout, his first career interception on that play, and it couldn't have come in a much bigger time. That was receiver-on-receiver crime. That was on Keyshawn Tabuto that he picked that off over.
Absolutely wild. And Tabuto not having the best game so far. And I believe he just ran the route for him. I mean, that's absolutely insane.
White taking off to the right side. Scrambling, still on his feet, airs it out deep, hits the turf harmlessly. It was intended for Kobe Grigsby. Second down coming up.
Man, I mean, J.C. White, another great job there escaping the pocket, and he just is not able to be sacked in this game.
Yeah, we've seen him doing a lot of running. I would love to know just the total yards that he has run so far tonight in the backfield. I mean, that was probably a good 20 to 30 that he ran just trying to scramble to buy some time and find some space. Nevertheless, an incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 now for the Mustangs. 9:26 to go in the first half. Bunch set. White, 3-step drop, looking to air it out. White airing it out towards the middle to Grigsby. He finds him. Grigsby puts on a move, tries to stay on his feet, but is tripped up at the 39. Nevertheless, a gain of 15 and a Mustangs first down.
And another great pass there, and just the ability to step up in that pocket and draw those linebackers in so you can get the ball easily over them straight to Grigsby for a gain.
And how about Kobe Grigsby? He's one of those young guys that the Mustangs are hoping will step up on the offensive end. Didn't have a single reception for this team last season, but has stepped up so far. 4 or 5 catches already so far in this first half of play. First down and 10 coming up. Bunch set once again here for Lipscomb Academy. White fakes the handoff, under pressure, escapes another tackler. White looking to throw, and he's just going to take off and run it. Flag in the backfield as White is brought down at around the 48-yard line, but that could potentially come back. It was right in the backfield towards the offensive line. And official is going to say it's a holding, so that will negate the 8-yard gain from J.C. White. Penalties have been a bit of a bugaboo so far early for the Mustangs on both sides of the ball so far.
Definitely, but that's just what you're going to see, when you have a young team. Obviously, most of the times when you think of development, you think of off-season and training and things like that, but it's also mistakes in-game. Honestly, I'd say it's more mistakes in-game because you really get that feeling of what it's like to play in a real game, have those nerves, create those mistakes, and learn from them.
8:29 to play here in the second quarter. 1st and 20 coming up after that holding call against the Mustangs. Oh, the fumble, nearly a fumble, but it's picked up by Z. Crockett. He's just going to run this out of bounds at the left sideline. He got a gain of 2, but the bobbled snap from J.C. White going to lead to that play, and it's 2nd and 18 now that's going to be coming up here for Lipscomb Academy.
They're those nerves I was mentioning earlier. Last play, and obviously we see a mature player in Z. Crockett pick up that ball and get to running.
And they're going to knock him back a yard shorter, so it's a 1-yard gain. Ball marked to the 30. 19 yards for the first down. White looking to throw. Screen pass to Crockett. He is swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage.
Pass is complete to number 32.
That's the defender, Jacob Lamontagne, the senior linebacker who made that tackle. Cooper Gentle there on that play as well.
So the Mustangs finding themselves in another tough spot here. See how they react on this play. Looks like Z Crockett's going to stay out there, as well as Grigsby. Cam Blevins looks like he's going to take the edge here.
Trips to the right side for the Mustangs. 3rd and 23. They got to get to the 49-yard line to move the chains. White evades a sack. On the move, White dumps it off, finds a man in Z Crockett. Z Crockett up the sideline. He's close to the marker.
Give it to him?
We'll see where he stepped out officially, where the official's standing. He may have it. It's right on the marker.
Wow. I mean, J.C. White just, he does it again and again and again. When it looks like he's about to be sacked, he steps up, jumps out of an ankle tackle there, and just makes a play.
And they're going to move the sticks. It's a first down for the Mustangs. J.C. White fakes the handoff. Under the rest, White scrambling, going. He's just going to trot forward. Got a couple of yards there, leading that shoulder down.
Takes heavy contact there. Looks like we got a flag here. It's going to be on the Mustangs.
That was Miles Williams on the tackle. Fisher French was the one that forced J.C. White out of the pocket.
Ref's not playing around this game, I'll tell you what.
And they have been busy so far tonight. That yellow laundry has been all over the field throughout this game. And you were right on it, Gideon. That is against the Mustangs, so that short run is going to come back. So a first down and 20 situation once again coming up for Lipscomb Academy.
Of course, great group of officials we have here. Know the game at its best, better than any of us here in the booth, and they're calling it as they see it.
Chains say second down. The scoreboard says 1st and 21, so not exactly sure which one it is, but nevertheless, J.C. White back to throw this. Finds Grigsby towards the sideline. Evades a defender, almost fumbled it there, but scoops it up at the 45.
Yeah, great job of falling on that after he drops it there. It looks like they will give him the gain and the completion.
And they are officially marking it as that being the second down play. So 3rd and 14 coming up now for Lipscomb Academy. 6:35 to go here in the first half. Mustangs looking to capitalize on the Cam Blevins interception. First play of that 4th possession from McCallie, and Cam Blevins snatched it right out of their hands, literally, in fact. And now J.C. White and this offense look to find themselves back into this game and making it one possession. White back to throw. Scrambles right. Takes off and runs. Airs it towards the middle of the field. Could not connect. That was intended for the tight end, Jack Klinite.
Yeah, I mean, the Mustangs really just keep finding themselves, especially on that drive, in positions of 3rd and very long, and you can't convert that every time, no matter how good of a football team you are. You just got to stop getting penalties and got to move that football forward.
So 4th down and 14, the Mustangs will have to punt this one away, so the drive stalls out. And Keyshawn Tabuteau back to return this for McCallie. Giddis boots this one away. Good hang time. Tabuteau is going to let this one fall.
Interesting decision there.
Yeah, that one is going to roll and fall to the 12-yard line. A couple of nice punts from Tyler Guinness today. Cole Schulman, the longtime punter, and made a name for himself as one of the best punters in America, arguably. And Tyler Guinness filling those big shoes well so far, as McCallie will have to start out on the 12-yard line, and the Mustangs defense with a nice bit of momentum after that interception on the last drive.
Yeah, and a great roll there from that punt as well. You can see he was hype on the sidelines. A great punt. And here we go. Let's get started.
So McCallie offense back out onto the field. Mustangs defense ready to roll as well.
We'll see how Japro reacts after that interception.
Hand off to the middle. That's Filion, who forces his way to about the 20-yard line.
That middle really being ran through well by McCallie. Definitely needs to be strapped up and zipped up there from the Mustangs.
5:37 to play, 2nd and 3 coming up. Don't be surprised if McCallie goes back to that run game. That's how they really started this game out, was just pounding the rock through Lloyd and Filion. 2 wide off to the right, 1 to the left. Handoff to Filion again. He stopped right at around the line to gain. Looks like he got it, but we'll see where they officially mark him. And the run from Filion will push the 6 forward, a gain of 5 and a first down for the Blue Tornado.
There it is again. We see a run up the middle in a game.
Past the 5-minute mark now in the first half. Ball on the 23-yard line, 1st and 10. Bunch set here for McCallie. After Poe pitches it out to Filion, up the left side. Filion with a burst of speed. Filion cups up midfield and has a block. This is Xavier Filion. He's being chased, and he's brought down at the 22-yard line by Harris Fisher. A big gain for McCallie, but Harris Fisher saving the potential touchdown.
He's got great legs on him, a big dude, and a great tackle there to wrap it up and really save this drive for the defense.
The junior linebacker, the linebacker room really changed with the graduations of Chris Thompson and Hunter Brandt. Hunter Fisher, one of the guys they really think could step up for this Mustangs unit, makes the big play there, but nevertheless, a huge gain from McCallie to get the ball all the way in the Mustangs territory on the 22-yard line.
Mustangs bringing people in close, expecting a run.
And they see it. Keyshawn Tabuto is blown up in the backfield.
There he is again.
Harris Fisher snuffed it out.
Putting the defense on his back. That's the kind of guy you want on your football team. Sniffing him out, getting in the backfield, making the tackle for a big loss.
A loss of 8, and that's not an easy thing to do. Keyshawn Tabuto, he's a Vanderbilt commit, runs a 4.340, was a state champion in track and field over the offseason. That's a fast man, and Harris Fisher beat him to his own play. That is crazy impressive.
Talking NFL speed there is, man, just what a play there by Harris Fisher.
2nd and 18, ball on the 30. Receiver in motion, Drapeau. Gonna pitch this one out to Levi Scott as he's tripped up and brought down.
That's the first time Scott's had a short gain in this game. So we saw him earlier with those, I believe it was 2 touchdown catches.
Now it's Eli Mast on the tackle, the defensive back. 3rd and 16 coming up for McCallie. The Mustangs defense looking for a big stop here. 3 wideouts to the right side, 1 to the left. Drapeau steps back, airs it towards the middle of the field. It looks like it's caught by Tabuto. After Jacob Christ got a piece of it, but he's well short of the first down. As it'll be officially marked at the 19-yard line, 4th down and 7 coming up. And we'll see what Joel Bradford decides to do. It looks like he's going to keep that offense out on the field. So 4th and 7 coming up.
Interesting decision here.
Big play here for the Mustangs. Drapeau maybe trying to draw him offside. 12 seconds to go on the play clock. Adjustments from both sides. 5 seconds now. Trying to get him to jump, and they weren't able to do it. Mustang stays steady. Nice patience from that defensive front. McCallie going to call the timeout before the delay of game call. And that is a great play there from a young team. We talked about this Lipscomb Academy defense especially. A lot of new names, a lot of new faces. Their first significant varsity snaps.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the moment, caught up in the game, the crowd, the fanfare, and jump off sides on that play. The Mustangs defense, they looked like a statue on that play. It didn't move even a bit when this veteran McCallie team was trying to get them to jump and get that quick and cheap 5 yards.
And that's something you don't see often with young teams. As we've seen in this game, many flags called on this Mustang team. But, man, as you said, statues there on the sideline. And for Joel Bradford, I mean, recognizing that and trying to get a jump out of them, great veteran play from a great veteran coach.
It'll be interesting to see what McCallie decides to do. Joel Bradford not getting the Mustangs to jump. Does he maybe bring his offense back out again, or does he opt to go for the field goal? It looks like he will, as Ben Brewer will trot his way on out to attempt the 36-yarder. Remember, the Mustangs last season blocked 3 field goals. Trip Naaman returned 1 for a 76-yard score, so special teams was a strength for Lipscomb Academy a season ago. Let's see if they can step up here. From the middle of the field.
This kicker hitting them from the logo in warm-ups.
Jackson Sharp to hold. And it is tipped from the line of scrimmage.
My goodness.
No good.
I believe that was Jacob Cries there on the tip.
The linebacker got a piece of it at the line of scrimmage, and the Mustangs blank McCallie on the drive. How about that?
What a play by the sophomore.
So Lipscomb Academy starting to get some momentum rolling here. They get an interception on the last drive. They stall McCallie on this one and leads to a blocked field goal. And all of a sudden, J.C. White and this Lipscomb Academy offense has a 2-minute drill. 1:47 to play, down by 14. And remember, Lipscomb Academy gets the ball back to start the second half. Big moments here.
That is something crucial right there. Let's see if they can fully get on their feet and gain that balance. We haven't seen that yet this game, except for that one touchdown drive. Here we go.
White to throw. Screen pass to Manoa Crockett.
Blockers
He
for
has
days.
blockers. Manoa Crockett urges his way forward and moves the chains for a first down. Mustangs on the move early.
We see another veteran play from this McCallie defense. Just because they run past you doesn't mean you can't have an effect on the play, as we see a push from behind causes Crockett to lose his balance and fall forward.
Ball spotted at the 34-yard line as Lipscomb Academy making a quick switch. Remember, they only have 1 timeout, and the clock is currently ticking. Game clock down to 11 seconds. White, play action. Looking, airs it out middle of the field,
Whoa.
and a flag going to be called. It's
There it
Kobe
is.
Grigsby. That was 3-4 flags. Any flag you got, you saw it thrown out on the field. That's going to be a pass interference, and it's going to be a free first for Lipscomb Academy.
That was a heck of a throw by that ref as he was on the other 25, and you saw that thing come flying in the frame. And Mustang's pretty happy about that one. They saw a missed call at the beginning of this game, and one going their way certainly lifts the spirits of this Mustang team.
And all of a sudden, that pushes the Mustangs from the 34 up to the 49-yard line, so inching their way towards McCallie territory in just 2 plays. 1:12 to go here before the half. And that also stops the clock for a Mustangs team that, again, has just 1 timeout in their back pocket. McCallie with 2.
Right.
Bunch set here. Grigsby motions out to the left side. White fakes the handoff. Evades a sack. Takes off to the right side. Takes a big hit as he just throws it away out of bounds.
If you're White, you got to watch that shoulder, as that was a very close to the elbow, and elbow direct contact, and with that shoulder, something very dangerous as a quarterback.
Smart play, however, to just throw that one harmlessly out of bounds. Got out of the pocket, so it wasn't intentional grounding. So J.C. White able to stop the clock and will live to fight another day. 65 ticks to go on the clock. 2nd and 10 coming up from the Mustangs' 49-yard line. Empty set here for Lipscomb Academy. White, set throw, finds Crockett to the right side to the first down marker. That's Manoa Crockett. Him and his brother Zia split the carries rather evenly tonight. They have both done a stellar job in that backfield. Lipscomb Academy at the 40-yard line and in McCallie territory, another first down.
Great job by Crockett there, doing more than it is expected of him as a running back, filling in as that wide receiver role, getting the first down.
Exactly a minute to play as Crockett will trot out towards that sideline, so another empty set coming up. Cam Blivens with him to that right side. White, screen pass to Grigsby. Grigsby takes off, evades another tackler, pushes his way forward to the 36-yard line.
Clock is
Short
running.
gain, clock is running. 50 seconds to go. Mustangs trying to work quickly. Clock still going here. Again, just 1 timeout for Lipscomb Academy, and they're going to have to use it here. That was a lot of time now. It's ticking off that clock, and looked like a little bit of a miscommunication, a little bit of confusion there from the offense. So Jamie Graham going to use his third and final timeout to get everything set.
Yeah, this makes this last 36 seconds a little bit more difficult, as if you run into the scenario where you do need to kick a field goal and you need to get out of bounds or stop the clock some other way, you can't do it by a timeout. The risk of the clock running out and going into halftime becomes greater.
You might have seen that the offensive line coach of the Mustangs, King Dunlap, which if that name sounds familiar, it probably will if you're an NFL fan, an NFL veteran of many years. You saw him kind of telling his offensive line, we need some urgency there at that line of scrimmage. A lot of time going off that clock, not able to save that final timeout, and now that urgency ramps up even more with no timeouts to fall back on, and the Mustangs have a great opportunity to maybe score before the end of the half.
Yeah, so here we go, and as we mentioned earlier, last time out there from the Mustangs, so we might be looking at more likely a pass here and a deep one at that.
Trips to the right side, Manoa Crockett in the backfield with J.C. White. Campbell Evans, the lone receiver to the left side. White looking his way and finds him. A nice little comeback route as Blivens steps out of bounds to the 22. 14-yard play, and he stops the clock with 30 seconds to go. Picture-perfect play from Jamie Graham and company.
And as you mentioned, great veteran play there from Campbell Evans, the senior, stepping out of bounds, stopping that clock, crucial.
Again, 21-7 your score. McCallie started out with a 21-0 lead, and the Mustangs have gotten some momentum on their side, and they are taking advantage, inching their way towards red zone territory. If they find their way there, it'll be their third red zone trip tonight. White fakes the handoff, steps up in the pocket, evades French, still looking. Backyard football from White. He's looking downfield, airs it out to the end zone, the Blivens, and it's going to fall incomplete. 17 seconds to go.
Great mobility and escapability there by White, but at some point you got to think to yourself, is the time I'm spending running around the back of the pocket going to convert here, or should I just throw this out, save time, next play?
And there was a flag thrown over at the 4-yard line near the throw as well as on the 10-yard line, so it could potentially be a pass interference against McCallie. Typically those plays is going to be an interference on one side or the other. Could have been a push-off. Could have been some hand fighting. We'll see which side it's on.
Looks like it's on McCallie. Two sides.
Yeah, so negating pass interference penalties looked like a holding penalty against McCallie, a pass interference against Lipscomb, so
play on.
On the bright side at the Mustangs, even though they don't get the yardage, since it was offsetting, they'll still get the first down markers, so they don't lose a down off of that play. However, 13 seconds ticked off the clock there, so 17 seconds to play. Mustangs on the 22-yard line. First down and 10 here once again. Manoa Crockett still in the backfield with J.C. White. White throws left, end zone to Blivens. Jump ball, couldn't hold on to it. That was 7-on-7. Deshaun Tipton broke that play up. 12 seconds to go.
Tipton with a little get back there on Cam Blivens in the past couple of plays.
And remember, we talked about Cam Blivens. He's a basketball player as well. He has a heck of a vertical. He's shown it off a few times tonight. Wasn't able to snag that one in, however. Second down and 10 now up here for the Mustangs. White throws it to the end zone. Blivens again overshoots him. 7 ticks remaining now. Third and 10 coming up. And does Jamie Graham maybe think about a potential field goal here? If you're J.C. White, you got to think, again, an end zone shot quick that you can't let too much time waste off that clock.
What you're looking at here is we're not kicking the ball here. Potential play is going to be one option. If that doesn't work, get outside the pocket, throw that ball out quickly, save that time, and that looks like what it's going to be here.
7 seconds remaining. Again, Mustangs with no timeouts. 2 wideouts to each side. White steps up. 3 seconds to go.
Careful.
White going to throw this towards the end zone. It's caught nearly, but he couldn't hold on to it. There's a flag thrown, however, in the end zone. There was no time on the clock. If it's against McCallie, that'll give the Mustangs one untimed down. This is a huge call here. Let's see who it's on.
Wow.
And it's going to go against McCallie. Pass interference.
Huge for the Mustangs here is what I said earlier just before that play. J.C. White did take all the time on the clock, but a pass interference call, saving the Mustangs here.
It pushes the ball up to the 11-yard line, so Lipscomb Academy will get an untimed down. Gideon, I'm going to ask you to play coach here. Do you take the 3 in the field goal, or do you ask your offense to try to hit the end zone for 6?
Man, Brendan, I'm taking the 3 based on what we've seen so far. This defense is playing some good coverage besides that one call. Looks like Jamie's going to go the opposite.
Jamie Graham going riverboat gambling. He's going for the score. White back to throw. Finds a man in the end zone for Blivens. It is caught in the end zone. Did he hold on? Yes, he did. Touchdown Mustangs. What a play. Cam Blivens.
Oh my gosh. Cam Blivens, what a catch too. Sliding to make that catch. A beautiful throw by J.C. White to just float that in there and let Cam Blivens do the rest.
Jamie Graham rolls the dice and it lands on a 6 for Lipscomb Academy. A huge score to end the half. It's a 1-possession game. Tyler Guinness out to make the PAT here.
As you said earlier, Mustangs get the ball back.
Clean hold, clean snap. PAT is good. 21-14, your score at the half. Cam Blivens, his back plate has a 7-Eleven logo on it, and that's because he's always open. He was open right at the right time. J.C. White found him, and Lipscomb Academy with all the momentum in the roll heading into the locker room. 21-14 your score. Mustangs trail, but they do get the ball back to start the second half. Gideon, how about that call from Jamie Graham? He could have trotted the field goal team out there, said, Tyler Guinness, guarantee a 6. You said you'd go for 3. I would have agreed with you there, but Jamie Graham said, no, we are going for broke, and he cashed out with a huge touchdown that could very well change the momentum of this game.
I mean, don't listen to me, man. That is a decision I would never be able to make, and that's really where you see what this football team is made of and what these guys can do when they are put on the spot and under the lights these Friday nights. And that's just what we're going to start seeing more of.
Friday night lights, and the lights are quite bright. The Mustangs hanging in there with the back-to-back defending state champs. They were down 21-0. They've cut that deficit down to 1 possession. 21-14, McCallie up ahead at the half. We're going to take a break here for halftime. My name is Brandon Biggs, me, my broadcast partner Gideon right here with me. What a game we have had here so far tonight. You are not going to want to miss this second half. Stay tuned right here at the Lipscomb Academy Football YouTube channel. We'll be right back with the second half on the other side.
Hi, I'm Christy Reynolds, Director of Academic Initiatives at Lipscomb Academy, and one of the things that we do at Lipscomb Academy is we do dual enrollment. However, we don't do dual enrollment just like every other school does dual enrollment. Lipscomb Academy students have the opportunity to walk over to Lipscomb University and take their dual enrollment classes with university professors on a university campus with other university students. A Lipscomb Academy student could take a first period class at the academy, walk to the university for a second period class, and then walk right back to the academy for their next class.
My schedule as a dual enrollment student looks like just any other normal high school student to begin the day, and then at the end of third period, I'll start my walk over to the university. It's really easy. Sometimes I'll stop at the student center and grab some lunch.
This allows students a great opportunity to truly experience what college classes will look like.
I think dual enrollment is preparing me to go into college, not necessarily because of the toughness of the class, but more just like the environment that it gives me. Because for the first time, like I have the freedom of like, if I'm going to get to class on time, like nobody's like rushing me to class or whatever. Like that's my responsibility. Turning in my homework is my responsibility, which you don't really get that feel in high school.
They get the feel of a college campus. They get the pace of a college class, all while they're still in high school.
I think this dual enrollment course has really prepared me for my future at a university in that it's given me some insight into just the way that a college course operates, the expectations of the professor, the workload, the way I need to manage my time, all of that, all of those skills are things that I'm learning through my experience at the university.
Dual enrollment has prepared me for college by teaching me what it's like to do the coursework on my own. So this has been a good experience for helping me take responsibility in my education.
There is no ceiling to what students can take since they have access to a whole course catalog of university courses.
Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today and forever.
Jesus Christus is gister aan vandag, dieselfde en tot in ewigheid.
يسوع المسيح هو الأمس واليوم وإلى الأبد.
Gesù Cristo è lo stesso, ieri, oggi e in eterno.
Isus Christos in sof nymfo in tof binim sha'ini, gen o bistasis in no teno ostemof tentio onaf.
Jezus Christus is gisteren en heden hetzelfde in eeuwigheid. Jésus-Christ est le même hier, aujourd'hui et pour l'éternité.
Jesus Christus gestern und heute und derselbe auch in Ewigkeit.
예수 그리스도는 어제나 오늘이나 영원토록 동일하시니라.
Yeshua HaMashiach hu, etmol hayom vole olamim.
Jezus Chrystus wczoraj i dziś, także i na wieki.
Isus Chrystus nie zmienił wczoraj, сегодня и во веки.
Jesucristo es el mismo ayer, hoy y por siempre.
Isus Chrystus nie zmienił wczoraj, сегодня и завжди.
Đức Chúa Jesus Christ hôm qua, ngày nay và cho đến đời đời không hề thay đổi.
Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Hi, my name is Jake Rosenthal, and I'm in the 11th grade. My favorite verse is Romans 12:22. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. This has shaped my life in many ways, but specifically it reminds me that I need to live like Christ. Christ overcame the greatest evil that there is. He overcame our sins. And so how can I live out each day where I am able to overcome the evil in this world with good? And whether that be a small thing as saying hi to somebody in the hallway, or thanking my teacher, or super big, just looking for that tiny moment where I can overcome the evil of this world with good.
I am Shelley Walker, and I am the middle school counselor here at Lipscomb Academy. And in 2014, my oldest child came to Lipscomb University as a college freshman. And at the time, me and my family lived in Fort Collins, Colorado. And as our daughter, McCallie, began to bring friends home from the university, we noticed a significant difference in the kids that she would bring home that were from graduates of Lipscomb Academy. And so we began talking and realized that we really wanted our youngest two children to have what these kids from Lipscomb Academy had. So we decided in 2018 to leave Colorado, which had been our home for over 25 years, and pick up and move to Nashville. We are just so thankful that we made that transition. And this is my first year working at the middle school as the counselor, but it has just been a blessing to see just what it looks like on the inside to be a part of this community and see how these teachers and faculty and staff are just pouring into our students, their academics, their social emotional well-being, their spiritual well-being. This is a really special community to be a part of, and I'm just so thankful that my family now gets to experience this firsthand.
I'm Riley Maple, and a verse that has always stuck out to me is Psalms 46:1. God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. And this is kind of funny, but one time I was in Target a while ago and I saw it on a shirt. And I don't know why, it just kind of always stuck out to me. I think it's like a verse that really gives me comfort and peace, because it says that God is like a refuge where we can go when we need help. But He's also like a strength that gives us our strength to fight our battles. And so whenever I'm anxious or just need motivation, there's just always a good verse I can go to have comfort and peace.
The Bible teaches us that in the beginning, God created, and humans were created in the image of God. That's the foundation for our mission in the arts at Lipscomb Academy. Through the creative arts, we reflect our own God-likeness, creators, created in the image of the divine Creator. That's why drawing, music, and dancing are ancient forms of expression in human history. At every stage of development, we provide opportunities for our students to explore, express, and become all that God made them to be, whether through the graceful movements of dance or the strokes of the painter's brush. Come along with us on this journey to realize all we can be to His glory.
I can't hear you. Let's go, Lipscomb Academy. Let's go.
I would like to extend a special welcome to Ellie Campbell, attending her first Lipscomb Academy Mustang game here tonight.
We are back with you at the half. McCallie leads Lipscomb Academy 21-14, but the Mustangs rolling with all the momentum in the world with a huge touchdown on an untimed down to end the half by Cam Blivens. Brandon Bigsby alongside my partner in crime here in the broadcast booth, Gideon Carter. And Gideon, the Mustangs, things started out a little shaky, but got the rhythm going, got more and more comfortable, and all of a sudden, things are coming up Mustangs all over the board.
Right. I mean, we all thought in this booth, we're like, okay, well, after the first couple of drives, I mean, McCallie's just getting their game rolling. That train is just going to keep on chugging. They're going to keep on scoring points. But no, we have an interception by Cam Blivens, and then the McCallie offense gets a little shaky from there on. And, well, the Mustangs kind of found their feet in this one, and we're looking at a one-score game, and the Mustangs get the ball back at half.
Well, if you just now joined us, or if you joined us a little bit later on our broadcast, don't worry, we have got your back. We'll take you back with everything that happened from that first half. It was all McCallie to start this thing out. They had a 21-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. Things kicked off with a 41-yard touchdown pass from Elliot Drapeau to Levi Scott. Then another touchdown pass to Levi Scott just a couple of minutes later, this one from 25 yards. Then the Mustangs looked like they had some momentum going, had the ball all the way to the 15-yard line in the red zone, but J.C. White, an interception in the end zone from Deshaun Tipton, led to another touchdown from Elliot Drapeau, an 8-yard rushing score that made it 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. But then the Mustangs found their rhythm. The offense got a touchdown from Zeke Crockett, a 3-yard rushing score. Then Cam Blivens, an 11-yard pass from J.C. White to the end zone, with an untimed down to make that play happen after a pass interference. That made it 21-14 with the Tyler Guinness PAT. And the Mustangs, as you mentioned, Gideon, get the ball back, and they have got to be feeling good coming back out onto the field right now.
And we talked about that untimed down earlier. You asked me right before, you said, what are you doing here if you were a coach? And I said, well, I'm obviously going to take the 3. Jamie Graham decides not to take the 3 on the untimed down, an absolute gamble. But a great one it turned out to be. And now we have a one-score game in this one. And I believe you said again, the Mustangs getting the ball back here to start this one. An insane opportunity to tie this thing up after being down 3 possessions at the end of the first quarter.
You look at the team comparison from that first half. The Mustangs with 14 first downs to McCallie's 12. 133 rushing yards on 13 carries from McCallie. Just 22 yards on the ground for the Mustangs on 10 carries. However, you look at the passing game, 20 receptions for 237 yards. J.C. White is 20 for 31, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Elliot Drapeau on the other side, 6 for 9, 144 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. So one word to describe J.C. White, gunslinger so far through this game.
And he's been running back and forth between the sidelines trying to avoid this defensive line out of McCallie, and he's been doing a great job of it. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been sacked this game yet.
No, he's not.
Something like crazy to see if you were to watch the first half. Man, every play these defensive linemen getting through, and JC just weaving in and out. And one of the things you would see most commonly is that right side, that edge rusher getting around, J.C. White stepping up and then straight to the right, running around him, running out to the right, making a pass downfield or getting some rush yards.
Talk about some standouts on both sides. We've talked about Levi Scott, 2 touchdowns on 3 catches, 132 yards total. He has 3 of the 6 receptions for McCallie. Xavier Filion with 1 catch for 11 yards. We talked a lot about Keyshawn Tabuteau coming into this game. The Vanderbilt commit, a 4-star recruit. He has not done too much so far tonight. 2 catches for 1 yard. Look at his past games against the Mustangs. Lipscomb Academy, they've been one of the few teams that have been able to say they have kept this dynamic offensive threat rather kept in check. Here's his last 2 games. 2023, 3 catches, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. Not too shabby. You go back to last year, however, 3 catches for just 22 yards, no score. So the star receiver, Keyshawn Tabuteau, trying to find his rhythm, while on the other side, Cam Blivens, phenomenal. 5 catches, 106 yards, and a score. Kobe Grigsby, the young wideout, stepping up so far. 6 catches, 47 yards, and then Manoah Crockett out of the backfield with 5 catches and 22 yards as well.
Astronomical stats there from this Mustang team. So we're about to get ready to set and kick off. We have Cam Fowler over there to return, as well as Z Crockett. We saw that's a change from the beginning of the game. We had, I believe it was Nick Pointer returning, and now he is replaced by Cam Fowler.
It was. You've seen the Mustangs rotate a few guys back there. We saw Nick Pointer back there earlier on. We saw Drew Dolioki as well. Z Crockett's been the one consistent back to return as Ben Brewer boots this one away, and we are ready to go for the second half as Cam Fowler will just call a fair catch in the end zone, and the Mustangs will set up shop on the 20-yard line, and calm gunslinger, calm magician, J.C. White, magical in that first half. Let's see what he has for an encore here in the second to start things out.
Yeah, we'll see. This Mustang offense, I mean, trying to come back at this, tie this thing up, and make this thing a football game. And we'll see here as they bring out about 4 out wide. One of them obviously being Cam Blivens, the other Grigsby. Here we go.
Jack Kleinite on the inside as well over to that left side. First play of the half for the Mustangs. White, screen pass, throw to Cam Blivens. Not able to get a hold of that ball. It'll fall incomplete. Second down coming up.
Dangerous play there as it's bobbled and just glides gracefully over the 2 McCallie players. It's a lucky one there.
We see the Mustangs utilize a lot of that screen game. They love those jet sweeps. They love to utilize those speedy athletes they have on the outside and get them into open space. But we've seen them utilize that a few times, and it hasn't even necessarily been Cam Blivens. It's been Manoah Crockett and Kobe Grigsby that they have loved to target on those plays so far. Tried to hit Blivens on that one, but not able to make it happen.
Grigsby, of course, number 3 right there. And then Cam Blivens off screen right now, down below.
Manoah Crockett in motion in the backfield. He gets the handoff. Crockett with some room up the middle. He's wrapped up by a few Blue Tornado defenders. Gets a nice gain of 5, so that'll make it third down and manageable coming up for the Mustangs.
And that's a great job by this young offensive line, just pushing that whole defensive line straight right and getting that hole up the middle for the good gain.
And you mentioned a very young offensive line for this Mustang squad, and so far, so good. They've been able to hold serve for the run game for the most part when they've had the chance. They haven't run the ball too much. It's been a lot of J.C. White in the backfield, but nevertheless, 3rd and 5 and an empty set here for Lipscomb Academy. White to throw. Screen to Manoah. Crockett could not get a hold of that pass. Incomplete, and now a lead to a 4th down. So the Mustangs, quick 3 and out, will have to punt this one away.
So the Mustangs looking a little sleepy there on that first drive with 2 drops behind the line of scrimmage. Looking to see and make this transition to defense and get the ball back quickly.
And you feel like the Mustangs probably going to feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity. They had all of that momentum coming in from the first half. In the halftime, you get the ball back to start this third quarter, and unfortunately that drive falls a little bit flat. A couple of plays, but a 3 and out nevertheless to end it all.
As we get started on this defensive stout here, I want to highlight the man with the orange-red gloves right here. That is Harris Fisher. Made 2 great plays on this last defensive drive in the first half. Obviously with a chase down tackle and then an 8-yard tackle for loss. Something you do not see often.
And the Mustangs had a delay of game there, so that's going to push them back 5 yards further. So 4th and 15, it looks like now Guinness will be punting this one away from the 20. Back to return is Keyshawn Tabuteau. Guinness, a high kick, not too much power on. Tabuteau going to take this from the 49. Puts on a move. Tabuteau with room to the outside as he is wrapped up and tackled from behind by Jackson Spencer. There's a flag, I believe, as he mentioned. And not seeing one, it looks like, so the play should stand. So Keyshawn Tabuteau returns this to the 31-yard line, so great field position for McCallie as the Blue Tornado offense set up shop here for the first time in this second half.
Yeah, McCallie, edge of the red zone, thanks to Tabuteau. Just a wonderful gutsy play there.
Handoff to Floyd. He is swallowed up at around the 30-yard line, maybe gained a yard. Chris Lloyd with a solid first half, had 5 rushes for 44 yards. He'll add on 2 yards to his tally on that play.
And that you're talking almost 10 yards per carry. That is something very, very hard to do as a running back.
That run game McCallie has been so dominant with over the years. The Mustangs have seen it firsthand. We mentioned the stat earlier on in the broadcast last season. McCallie, they had 310 yards of offense, 206 of them were on the ground. They also had 5 of their 6 touchdowns rather come on the ground as well. So this is a team that loves to pound the rock. You know, the Mustangs were expecting that coming in. Obviously only so much you can do when you have a team that is able to do that the way McCallie can, but so far the Mustangs holding serve and got a tight game here. 21-14 your score early on in the third quarter. Second down and 8 coming up. Ball on the Mustangs 29. Drapeau to throw. Airing it out towards the end zone for Scott. He has it. It's caught. He's brought down at the 5-yard line.
It will be called a catch. I was wondering, he looked like he kind of lost it there on the end, but called a catch by the refs, and there is Scott back again. We saw him in the first quarter on almost every play, it felt like, and he is back and ready to go in this second.
Scott now with 4 catches, 154 yards so far today. First and goal from the 7 for McCallie. Hand off to Lloyd, bounces outside, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Tornado.
McCallie making a statement here. This is great for them. Thinking about that momentum loss at the end of the second there. Just gaining it all back right now.
Yeah, if you're Joel Bradford, I think this is the exact start that you were talking to your team about in the locker room. I know they got the momentum. I know that things are shifted from what we thought they were coming into this second quarter, but at the end of the day, still got a second half of football to play. Go out there, take care of business. McCallie gets a 3 and out, and then follow that up with a touchdown run from Chris Lloyd. Brewers extra point. Clean snap, clean hold. It is right down the middle, up and true. 28-14 now your score. McCallie strikes first in this third quarter. And now the Mustangs trailing once again by 2 possessions. 10:05 to play here in this third frame, and obviously the Mustangs can't feel too down about themselves. You know, you had that tough break there on that offensive drive, the quick 3 and out. Defense didn't have a whole lot of yards to play with. It started out on the 31-yard line due to that punt return from Keyshawn Tabato. Cannot forget about that, a critical part of that drive. But now, just got to turn the page, look forward to that next possession. You're still very much in this game and have a little bit of that momentum still, despite McCallie being able to answer with a touchdown.
Yeah, come out aggressive here. Come out with those short, quick passes. Get those yards quickly, as we've seen over the course of this game. That swift defensive line breakthrough, and Lipscomb just needs those quick, easy yards right now. Nothing too difficult, nothing too complicated, just moving the football.
Dante Fowler and Z Crockett once again back to return this for Lipscomb Academy, as Ben Brewer gets set to kick this one away from the left hash. These two teams have a history of going back and forth, counter-punch for counter-punch. It's looking like one of those contests again tonight. Can the Mustangs get another punch of their own? Dante Fowler returns us from the goal line. Fowler with some speed up the sideline, and he's wrapped up at around the 26-yard line. A nice return for the senior wide receiver, and that's where the Mustangs offense will kick things off for their second drive of this second half.
Yeah, great return there. Wasn't able to really bend that corner like he wanted to. But, I mean, Dante Fowler, what speed, what ability to move the football and himself around those blockers. Just a great job on that kick return.
As we welcome you guys into the booth here with us, Brandon Bigsby alongside my partner Gideon Carter. Mustangs trail 28-14 with 9:57 to play here in quarter number 3. Lipscomb Academy with a good amount of momentum out of halftime, looking to recapture some of that magic here on this possession. 3 wideouts to the left side, and Manoa Crockett from the right side into the backfield in motion. White to throw. Airing it out towards the sideline for Blivens.
Difficult.
It is nearly picked off by Deshaun Tipton. That would have been his second interception, but he wasn't able to haul it in. Second down coming up.
And as a QB, when you see that the DB has kind of inside leverage there, you really want to try to get that ball back shoulder. JC not able to do it there, facing heavy pressure inside the pocket. Almost a pick.
We've seen Deshaun Tipton tested a few times tonight. He had that interception in the end zone earlier that killed the Mustangs' second drive. Nearly had a pick just then. Broke up a play in the end zone for Cam Blivens. He's been all over the field for McCallie so far here tonight. Two tight ends in motion there for the Mustangs. 2nd and 10 from the 27. Handoff to Manoa Crockett up the right side. He's got some space.
Edge.
Crockett past the first down marker and pushed out of bounds just past the 40-yard line. The Mustangs move the sticks for another Lipscomb Academy first down.
Just that little motion before
Oh, and they're
the
going to
run
say he
there.
stepped out of bounds, actually. So they're actually going to say he stepped out of
Interesting.
bounds at the 32-yard line. Looked like he kept himself in, but nevertheless, they're over on that far sideline, so they've got a better view of it than we do over here in the broadcast booth, but they're going to say Manoa Crockett was short, so 3rd down and 5 coming up from the 32. Bunch set for the Mustangs. White hands it off to Manoa Crockett, and he is denied. No chance on that play. That's Fisher French, who wraps them up behind the line of scrimmage. A tackle for loss for one of the better defensive linemen on this team. And that's going to lead to a punt here coming up for the Mustangs.
So great recognition there by the McCallie defense as you see the motion and the likeness of that play to the one before it. And from that point, you can just tell which way the run's going and make the tackle.
Fisher French, he had 11 tackles for loss last season, 4.5 sacks as well. He comes up with a big one right there that killed the Lipscomb Academy drive as Keyshawn Tabuto back to return this punt as officials will blow the play dead. And maybe a timeout potentially here called. Wow, Lipscomb Academy had to use a timeout there. Potentially a delay a game there as that's going to leave the Mustangs with 2 remaining. And the last thing you want to do in a game where you're trailing in the second half is have to burn one of those timeouts early in the half, and you have to do it because of a clock issue or a formation issue.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe they use this time to really talk about what kind of coverage we need on this punt return, as we saw Tapito on the return before this take it a good distance all the way up to, I believe, the 31, almost in the red zone there, and then the follow-through from the McCallie offense and the score.
4th punt of the night here for Lipscomb Academy. It's booted away by Guinness. Had a little bit of pressure come his way as that one is going to bounce out of bounds at around the 41.5-yard line. And that is where McCallie will start out this next drive.
And that's all you can ask out of your punter. Maybe the only thing is somehow get that ball to roll a little bit forward. But that punt, I mean, that's 40, 45 yards. It's a great job by Guinness there.
Yeah, Guinness in the first half had 2 punts, and his average was 45 yards per punt. That first one looked like it was probably a little bit more than 45 yards. So Tyler Guinness, his first game as a starting punter for the Mustangs, showing out here so far as McCallie looking to throw with Drapeau, finds his man. That's the wide receiver Mikey Bartlett, who was pushed out of bounds into Mustangs territory, and McCallie first down the first play of this new drive.
Quick little cut back there, and just so hard to guard that route. But I mean, as a Mustang defender, gotta recognize the QB's eyes and his direction. He didn't cheat that at all. He showed his body language where he's throwing that, and he fired it into the hands of his receiver.
Elliot Drapeau, he has not had a ton of opportunities to throw, at least compared to J.C. White on the other side, but he's been efficient as can be when he has been given the rock. 7 seconds to go here on the play clock. McCallie's got to hurry. Hand off to Lloyd. Run up the gut. Finds himself about 4 yards. Second down coming up now.
Tackle by number 4, Eli Mast.
Now it's Eli Mast on the tackle, the junior defensive back. As Beck Woodside comes in for the Mustangs, E. Crockett will get himself a rest. We've seen him playing on both sides of the ball. Has a touchdown, a 3-yard rushing score in the first half. He's made a few tackles so far today as well. 2nd and 6 coming up, ball at the 38. Drapeau hands off to Lloyd, bounces in between the tackles, and gets a nice little gain, a little bit of pushing and shoving there between a couple of guys. No flag called, and you see a little bit of frustration there as Jacob Christ wanted a penalty against the offensive lineman, Titus Turvinen. 3rd and 2 coming up, ball on the 34.
We're seeing it over and over again, this running game from the Blue Tornado, as they just keep on going straight up the middle and really pounding that ball straight through the Mustangs.
McCallie 2 for 3 on 3rd downs in that first half. They're going to hand it off to Filion up the middle. I don't know if he got there. Let's see where they mark him. He looks short. They're calling it no gain. Maybe got 1 if that.
It's 4th down.
So it's going to be 4th down and 1 officially. And it looks like Joel Bradford, offense is looking at him. Head coach and offensive coordinator for this Blue Tornado team. Let's see what he decides to do. And it looks like he's going to potentially go for this one here. Drapeau is still out there. A couple of quick stubs. You get the big back Chris Lloyd in the backfield for Filion. And it is going to be 4th down. And McCallie's going for it.
No doubt a run here.
2 seconds on the play clock, and it looks like McCallie's going to have to call a timeout. McCallie took a lot of time to really think about what they wanted to do. The offense kind of looked towards the sideline saying, hey, what are we going to do here? What's the call? We saw a few substitutions, and they kind of stood around the line of scrimmage. When they finally got set, there was only 5 ticks left on that play clock, and it ticked all the way down to about 2. So Joel Bradford was going to have to use that timeout if he wanted any chance to try to go for this here.
Yeah, and nothing wrong necessarily with taking a timeout here on this play. Probably the biggest play in this game yet, as if the Blue Tornado can get through this Mustang defense and can score some points here, they might as well just close this game out.
Huge play here that could potentially turn the tides of this game. McCallie, they have not gone for it on 4th down so far tonight. We saw Lipscomb went for it on 4th down earlier and were able to convert. 4th and 1. It is a heavy set in for McCallie. Lipscomb Academy bunched up at that line of scrimmage. It's a pile of humanity at the line. They try to push forward with Cooper Gentle, the big linebacker, and it looks like he got it.
Man, what a display of muscle there and force from this McCallie team. Just absolutely pounding through.
And Cooper Gentle, he is one of the defensive stars for this McCallie team. He was named first team All-State last season, had 101 tackles, 12 sacks, 15 quarterback hits, and 26 tackles for loss. He led Division II AAA in both tackles and tackles for loss. He's also a heavyweight state champion wrestler as Drapeau airs it out towards the left side of the field. Found his man in Loya Valad, who hauls it in for a gain of about 6.
That play identical to the one they started this drive off with. You see our DBs recognizing that, getting there a little bit quicker than the last time and making that tackle.
2nd and 4 coming up from the 25-yard line. Chris Lloyd in the backfield with Drapeau. He has 3 wide receivers to his right, 1 to his left, being Valad.
Watch Valad right here.
Valad, the speedy wideout, also plays some defensive back as well as Drapeau keeps it up the left sideline. He's going to be pushed out of bounds by the defensive back Miller King.
And Drapeau, not something he's done often this game. You see him run the ball there again. Last time we saw that, it was for a short touchdown run. And he's got some wheels on him.
Yeah, that's just Trapeau's second carry of the game. That first one, as you mentioned, was for that touchdown score, the second of the game earlier on. First and goal now from the 10-yard line for McCallie. 4:48 to play here in quarter number 3. The Blue Tornado looking to make this a 21-point lead yet again. Play action, airs it out to the end zone. Is it caught? No, incomplete. Nice coverage there from the defensive back, Eli Mast.
And a great play on defense there, not quitting throughout the play. And just a wonderful dude that DB is. Great job there.
Yeah, Eli Mast, one of the guys in this secondary that does have some experience, played in 4 games last season. Has a second and goal coming up.
4 wideouts out there.
Trapeau hands it off to Lloyd, pushes his way forward and into the end zone. Touchdown, McCallie. Touchdown number 2 today for the tailback, Chris Lloyd, and all of a sudden, the Blue Tornado are right back where they started. They are up by 3 scores with 4:28 to play here in quarter number 3.
Real test this will be for the Mustangs. See what they can do here with the remainder of the game as they try and come back from this. Nothing we haven't seen from this team.
As Ben Brewer, his 5th PAT attempt on the night. True. 35-14 now the score. The Mustangs back in a bit of a hole like they were in the first quarter. As you mentioned, Gideon, not anything we haven't seen this team come back from. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before that. We even saw a glimpse of it earlier on in the first half. However, the deeper we get into this game, the more desperate things start to become.
Indeed. And you'll see Lloyd, just absolutely running through this Mustang defense. They need an answer for him if they're going to win this game.
Yeah, 4:28 to play. And again, you have to remember, this McCallie team, back-to-back defending state champions, a program that is ranked in the top 100 nationally. A lot of people kind of saying, are they the best team in the state? You could throw Baylor in there. You could throw a team like Ravenwood, who, by the way, the Mustangs will be seeing right here on this field next week.
They will.
This is a tough opponent that the Mustangs are starting out with. They have held their own with them. I think you could argue had a much better second quarter for sure than McCallie did, but it's just been a game of ebbs and flows, of peaks and valleys. Can the Mustangs find another peak here as we approach the latter stages of this third quarter?
New return man out there. Looks like it's going to be Robert Nicholas for Z Crockett.
So Nicholas is back there alongside Dante Fowler as Brewer boots this one away, and Fowler will get it from the 3-yard line. He's going to take this one. Fowler with some blocks. He's tripped up by the ankle at the 25-yard line by Ryan Muxlow, and that is where J.C. White and company will start out this offensive drive.
Dante Fowler, not somebody who's received much attention from the football this game, besides on the kickoffs. Like to see him get involved and maybe help out this offense. We know he can. Very explosive player and very good receiver.
Yeah, Dante Fowler so far held without a catch on the offensive side. He's an explosive option for this Mustangs offense. Was a big play threat alongside Cam Blivens last season, a senior for this team. Speedy and as tough as they come. Don't be surprised if we call his name a couple of times before the end of the night. 1st and 10 from the 26, first play of the new drive for Lipscomb Academy. J.C. White, screen pass, finds his man clean, but on the play was the defensive back, Miles Williams. As Kobe Grigsby is in a bit of pain. He was the one that caught that pass. As they're going to mark it officially a loss of 1, but obviously the attention being turned toward Kobe Grigsby, who limps his way over to the sideline. That's going to be something to watch for the Mustangs because Grigsby, that was the 7th catch of the game. He has 46 yards so far. So he's been a key contributor for this Lipscomb Academy offense.
Yeah, he certainly is one of our most reliable receivers and a great one at that. Sad to see him go down there in this one.
See if we can get him back out into the field. It's White looking to throw it. Dancing in the pocket. Scrambles back and is just going to throw this one out of bounds. A nice catch on the sideline there, out of bounds from Blaine Batt, but it will fall incomplete nevertheless. A third down coming up for the Mustangs.
And you see that right edge of the offensive line kind of crumbling again, forcing JC to move out.
Yeah, you mentioned that right side of that defensive line. It is where Fisher French is, the tackle for loss monster that has been on that right side for McCallie the last couple of seasons. Third down for the Mustangs. White to throw, tries to find his man over towards that left sideline, but Ryan Muxlow was there on the coverage. It was intended for Nick Pointer, the freshman wideout. And another third down. Now lead to a punt for Lipscomb Academy. Third drive in a row here in this half is going to lead to a 3-and-out. Fifth punt of the night coming up for Guinness.
So Guinness averaging 45 on his punts. We'll see what this one looks like. Wearing number 39.
Keyshawn Tabuteau back to field this one.
It's another good one.
And Tabuteau is going to take this from the 39.
It's like we have another man down on the field.
Yeah, a couple of guys getting up gimpy. It looked like the
First
one was Caleb Grooms, the defensive back for the Mustangs. And obviously, we're not doctors, but something you do have to keep in mind, this is week one. This is the first full-on game that either of these two teams have played. Obviously, teams around the state and around the country have done some scrimmages over the last few weeks, but the first full-on game with full contact, full speed, you're still getting your conditioning. Obviously leads to the potential of some cramps, so just something to keep in mind. Obviously, we are not medical professionals, but just something to keep in the back of your mind if you do see a couple of guys limping off here and there. First down and 10, first play of the new drive for McCallie. Hand off to Filion, dancing to the right side, gets past another defender as he scampers out of bounds towards the 30-yard line. That's going to be a near 20-yard gain, and another McCallie first down.
There it is again, just that run up the middle, super simple and super efficient here from McCallie and the Blue Tornado.
They mark him out at the 33-yard line, so a 17-yard carry for Xavier Filion. That two-headed monster in the backfield of Filion and Lloyd so far has served McCallie well, especially in this third quarter.
Filion, he'll take it again.
Run right up the middle, a nice swing down tackle from the linebacker, and Jackson Whaley. Second and 8 coming up, a gain of 2 there from Filion. Approaching the 3-minute mark here in quarter number 3. McCallie up by 21 and trying to potentially put this one away. 3 wideouts to the left side. Drapeau looking to throw, goes deep in the direction of Valad, who goes up, potentially grabs it.
Still battling.
They're still fighting for it. It's Blivens and Valad. And they're going to say that Valad did indeed get it. He survived the ground down at the 7-yard line. A 24-yard catch. And a first down again for McCallie. Valad giving Blivens a bit of a taste of his own medicine there.
Right, and that battle for the ball, unfortunately, doesn't come up by the Mustangs, but happens sometimes. And there, Cam Blivens obviously trying to make another interception and wasn't able to do so. Still played some great defense there. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, almost just snatched that one out of the hands of Valad on that play. And I mean, if he was going to be able to do that, as a penalty, a little bit of pushing and shoving after the play, and there was a flag thrown beforehand, and it's going to be a false start against McCallie. As we've seen these two teams get a little chippy here and there. We've seen a couple personal foul penalties, things of that nature. A little bit more of that there at the end of that one. But the Blue Tornado with the infraction now pushed them back 5 yards. First and goal coming up from the 12-yard line. Less than 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
Blue Tornado showing run.
Filion in the backfield. He'll take the handoff. Bounces in between the tackles, and he is wrapped up and brought down by Jacob Christ, the linebacker. He's been active for the Mustangs tonight, gets another tackle there. Second and goal now coming up from the 7. And this feels like a must stop here for Lipscomb Academy in an and goal situation. You do not want to allow 7 to let McCallie really stretch out this lead further.
And if you're McCallie, I mean, just keep on running that ball. Keep on running the clock. And get out of this one.
And they've ticked it down to almost a minute to go here as Drapeau pitches it out to Filion to the right side, bounces it to the pylon. Touchdown, McCallie. Xavier Filion finds the end zone. And some flags on the back end of the play. Yeah, these two teams, they are not liking each other right now. And we've seen a couple of pushing and shoving, and these are two teams that have had some emotional battles over the last couple of seasons. They've had a lot of highs and lows on both sides tonight, so no surprise to see it. Two really tough competitors that have been in the same district for the last 2 seasons. So not a surprise, some familiar faces, but we'll see who it's on or if it's maybe offsetting.
Referees having a chat.
And officials are discussing. We've seen a lot of yellow laundry out on that field so far today. The Mustangs, 8 penalties for 80 yards in that first half. McCallie, 3 penalties for 31. And they will call it unsportsmanlike conduct against both sides. So an offsetting penalty, and Brewer will get set for the point after. And it's good. 42-14 now the score. Mustangs find themselves in a bit of a jam here late in the third quarter. 54 seconds to go, and who would have guessed it? Another flag out on the field.
Right.
These officials have been busy, busy, busy tonight. Let's see what this one is. Looks like they signaled 24. I mean, there's a 24 on both teams, so it doesn't help us too much. I mean, we didn't get an official word for what that penalty was, but it doesn't look like they plan to give it to us either. Maybe we'll find out based on where they spot the ball. McCallie's pushing forward, so that's going to be a penalty against the Mustangs.
Same 2 returners out there for the Mustangs.
Yeah, it's going to be hard-pressed for them to really get a shot at returning this. McCallie's going to punt this away from Lipscomb Academy's 45-yard line into the rare opposite end of the field kickoff. Not often you see that. As Brewer gets set to boot this one away. And we do get the confirmation there. It was unsportsmanlike conduct against the Mustangs as the kickoff goes in between the uprights. Won't count for points, but it's cool nevertheless. The kids go chase the ball. A couple of smiling faces, and there is another flag thrown over at the 47-yard line. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
There it is. Right there, for those of you who can't see it.
So we'll see what the call is this time around. As we went from a game that was high-flying in the first 2 quarters to a slugfest that has been kind of littered with penalties on both sides. As we'll get the word on who this one was against, the touchback would have the ball at the 20-yard line, and it looks like they're going to just redo the kick. The penalty was against McCallie. So Brewer looking for a ball. He wants to get this thing kicked off. It'll be from the 50-yard line this time around. So we'll see if Fowler and Nicholas will get a shot at potentially returning it this time. 54 seconds to go here in quarter three. McCallie up 42-14 over the Mustangs. Lipscomb Academy, we're down by just 7 to start this half. Had the ball, but 3 straight 3-and-outs and 3 straight McCallie touchdowns have widened the gap between these two teams in this contest so far. And that kickoff, another touchback, and from what I'm seeing, no flags on the field. So we will get the Mustangs offense out.
Let's play some football.
As J.C. White and company trot their way on out onto the field, you feel like they are really going to be hoping for a quick score. Obviously, we have seen this Mustangs team go on runs in a hurry, but obviously you're down by 28. You're going to have to do a lot in a little amount of time. Let's see if they can start right here. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. White to throw. Evades right side, airs it out middle of the field, has Blivens, and it's caught!
There it is.
Cam Blivens down the sideline. Blivens to the 30, and he's still going, and he's pushed out of bounds in McCallie territory. White to Blivens, strikes again.
Blivens and White aren't giving up yet. Great gain.
And like we said, this is the Mustangs team. They've been known to score in bunches in a little amount of time. They're going to have to dip into a little bit of that here. Ball officially marked down at the 16-yard line.
Call it 50, 60 yards on that play.
As they'll actually make it the 20-yard line here, so they'll respot it. White scrambles left, on the run. Looking, throwing, and we'll just harmlessly put that towards the left sideline for an incompletion. So they went from 120 all the way to the other, so a 60-yard reception there for Cam Blivens. Guess the Mustangs in red zone territory. A flag was thrown. Intentional grounding going to be called there against J.C. White. And it looks like the Mustangs, hey, they are not agreeing with that call over on the sideline. Looked like White was out of the pocket, but I'm not in the black and white stripes for a reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brandon, it looks like he was pretty far out there, but refs think not. Here we are.
So that'll be a loss of yardage and a loss of down here. So the Mustangs, they'll go from the 20-yard line all the way to the 35-yard line here coming up. So 2nd down and 20 now for Lipscomb Academy. Manoa Crockett in the backfield with J.C. White. A bunch set here for the Mustangs. White back to throw. Spins left. Takes off and runs. He's going to be pushed out of bounds. Got a couple of yards there at the end of it. And the ball will be spotted at the 32-yard line here. So 3rd down and a good bit still to go. Now it's Cooper Gentle on the tackle.
This McCallie defensive line must be huffing and puffing, catching their breath. White making them run everywhere this game.
Yeah, that defense, they have earned their miles so far today. If they've got the Apple Watches on the wrist, boy, that thing is off the charts right now. 3rd and 23.
Here we go.
White scrambling right. Looking deep, has a man, overshoots his target. It was intended for Langston Jordan. Or excuse me, Kobe Grigsby.
And that a very hard throw to make, as you see. Great coverage there by that McCallie defender. Just trying to glide it right over him without throwing it a little too far. And unfortunately, the latter happened.
And the Mustangs in a position, they're going to not even think about punting or kicking the field goal. They need touchdowns, and they need them fast. 4th and 22 coming up. They need to get to the 11-yard line to keep this drive alive, or they need a penalty. That would be an automatic 1st down against McCallie. Spread formation here for the Mustangs. White has time. Scrambles right. Looking downfield. Deep pass, end zone, Fowler! Caught!
There he is.
Touchdown Mustangs! Dante Fowler!
Man, what a receiver Dante Fowler is. Talked about him earlier in the broadcast. Told you guys he hadn't really shown up yet, but there he is. There he is, and what a catch that was, having to turn his body while going the opposite direction.
Some call him Cam, some call him Dante. The choice is yours. But Dante Fowler, the big play threat for this Mustangs team, he averaged 23.8 yards per catch last season. That led this Lipscomb Academy squad, had 14 catches, 329 total yards, and a pair of touchdowns. He gets his first score of the 2025 season right there, as the Mustangs are going to go for 2 here. As a whistle, and we'll see if maybe it's an official stoppage or a timeout. Timeout McCallie. That's their second, so 1 more remaining for them. 6 seconds to go here in quarter number 3. Mustangs will score on the deep pass to Dante Fowler, a 33-yard score. With 6 seconds remaining here, and if you're the Mustangs, obviously still a long way to go, but it makes you feel like, hey, we're still in this, we got a little bit of life. Make a couple of quick plays, maybe a turnover, an onside kick or two, continue to score touchdowns, and all of a sudden, things get real interesting. And if you go even back to last season, the game against the First Academy, the Mustangs found themselves in a very similar situation, down by 3+ possessions in the third quarter, came all the way back, had the ball actually in a 1-possession game late, threw an interception at the end of that game and lost by 6. But it goes to show you, this is the Lipscomb Academy team. They are the cardiac kids. They are used to these comeback situations. McCallie can't get caught sleeping, because if they do, this Mustangs team will make them pay. As a 2-point conversion coming up here for Lipscomb Academy. Pitch play to Grigsby. Burst to the right corner, and he's not going to get there. He was met by a pair of defenders. Jacob LaMontagne was there, as well as, I believe, Cooper Gentle.
And a great opportunity, nonetheless, to try out the 2-point game in a real game and see how it goes. Maybe see what things work and see what things don't.
I'm sure maybe some people back home watching are like, hey, why did you go for 2 there? You kicked at PAT. You got Tyler Guinness, who has been efficient and reliable. You cut it to 21. You might get 3 touchdowns in 10 minutes and 6 seconds. But if you're J.B. Graham, the way you're thinking, I need points. I need them in a hurry. The more I can cut into that lead, the better my chances. As the Mustangs will get set to kick this off. Considering the situation as well, you wonder if maybe an onside kick could be in the back of the mind of Jamie Graham as well. As we saw the Mustangs convert on a few onside kicks last season, including one in the season opener. I mentioned that game against TFA. Right. They got one. It was CJ Jim Coyley that went up and caught that. We'll see if maybe the Mustangs try for it here.
Mustangs still have a whole quarter left. Only down by 22.
As Guinness going to boot this one away in the direction of Deshaun Tipton, who will take this up from the 14.
He'll be met early.
He's going to be met and brought down. That is who else? Trip Naiman. And he is fired up there after that tackle.
Rightfully so. That is something few can do, wrapping people up on the run. Nonetheless, on the kickoff.
As third quarter ends, 42-20 McCallie, your score, as we're going to bring it down to the field for a quick interview.
McCallie 42, Lipscomb Academy 20.
Who am I here with today?
Ken Robinson.
What are you looking most forward to in high school football season?
I'm looking forward to how the players compete, how they develop, and hopefully come together as a football team.
What's your favorite part about high school football?
I love the brotherhood. I love the struggle. I love competing against a worthy opponent and how it challenges you.
What brings this Alabama hat to the Lipscomb Academy football game?
My heart is always where my kids are, And so my son is the outside linebacker coach at the University of Alabama, and so that's why I'm wearing the Alabama hat.
Oh, that's so sweet. Love that. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
All right, thank you guys. That was a great interview right there. You heard a couple things mentioned. He highlighted the word brotherhood. However, brotherhood, actually the mantra this season for this Mustangs team, a throwback to former head coach McAdams' phrase to instill community and togetherness. As we are underway for the fourth quarter, a quick run down the middle for McCallie. Gets a gain of about 4. Now it's Chris Lloyd with the carry.
Speaking firsthand, as a classmate of many of these football players, that mantra and that motto of this football team this year has been greatly instilled by head coach Jamie Graham, and I see it every day in all my classmates here on the football team, and it really is something to see. They're all such great people and such great friends to have and be around.
Drapeau going to take off and run, met by Trim Naaman, evades that tackle, and he is met by a few Mustangs. The first one on the scene was the defensive back, Caleb Grooms.
And not easy it was to bring him down as, man, Drapeau, 6'5", 210, absolutely massive human being, and very strong at that.
3rd and 7 coming up, and I want to actually hit on something you mentioned. That's something that Jamie Graham has instilled within this program since being hired in December 2023. Bible, books, ball, something he has instilled within this program. Bible, how did you better your walk with the Lord today? Books, how did we succeed academically? Ball, how did we get better on the field? As Drapeau finds his man over that right sideline, that's Jacob Lamontagne, who carries his way forward to the 31-yard line, a 13-yard gain, and a McCallie first down. But, kind of going back to just some of the values that head coach Jamie Graham has instilled within this program, you see it on the field and off the field, the community, the brotherhood, as you mentioned, and something that has really become a staple and has been a staple within this Mustangs program over the years. As a first down for McCallie coming up from the 31-yard line, exactly 10 minutes here to play. 42-20 your score. As a handoff to the tailback, Chris Lloyd. He is wrapped up for a loss. A few Mustangs there on that one. Eli Mast was there. The defensive back Nathan House was there. I believe Harris Fisher was on the scene there as well. No gain on the play officially, so 2nd and 10 coming up.
Indeed, there's a good job of wrapping up that run game, something the Mustangs have struggled with all game here. Looks like they're getting a hang of it.
As the Blue Tornado up by 3 possessions, plenty final letting the clock run just 2 seconds ago on the play clock, and it's going to hit 0. Did they get the timeout in time, or will it be a delay of game? They did. So Joel Bradford uses his 3rd and final time out of the half. And that'll give us a second to kind of look forward to next week for both of these two teams. Look at McCallie. They have a game at home in Chattanooga against Hebron Christian, while for the Mustangs, Ravenwood coming to town next week. A familiar face on the other side of Ravenwood. Danny Brown making his return, but nevertheless, Lipscomb Academy going up against another premier program in Ravenwood. It's going to be a really tough test, but you feel like some of the flashes that this Mustangs team has shown, both on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, going to be really, really fun to watch as they continue to develop and continue to grow here throughout the season.
I agree, and if you can really connect on what the Mustangs have done well, this game, which is undoubtedly the deep ball and just the ability and mobility of J.C. White in the pocket, as well as many other things. I really think the Mustangs have the ability and the know-how and the skill in this young team to be able to compete at a high level. And, you're going to lose football games, and that's okay. And the great thing about losing football games is you know everything in all of your mistakes and all of your weak points. And that's the only way you can get better is by knowing that.
After Poe with a pitch out to Levi Scott, he got the first down a little more, but there was a flag at the end of that play. We'll see who it's on. McCallie was thinking that it was against the Mustangs, but it's going to go against the Blue Tornado instead. A holding call will negate that Levi Scott run. And that'll make it 2nd and 11 now coming up. So 2nd and 10 coming up, ball on the McCallie 30-yard line.
Watch this offensive line right here. Watch exactly where they move. Determines the whole play.
As the play clock hits 0, that's going to be a delay of game against the Blue Tornado. They've had a few close calls as they've tried to really tick down and bleed the clock as much as they can in this 4th quarter. Had a close call earlier, had to use their final timeout, and going to have to just take the penalty this time around. So 2nd and 16 now. That'll move the ball back to the 25. As a 3 wide out set to the left side here for the Blue Tornado.
Philly on the backfield.
Drapeau to throw it to the right side. Fires one over the hands of Mikey Bartlett. Incomplete. 3rd and long coming up.
Pass is incomplete. Intended for number 24, Mikey Bartlett. On your feet, Mustangs.
3rd down coming up. Mustangs looking to get off the field defensively, trying to get their offense back out there. Still 8:17 in the play, so the Mustangs can get a stop, a quick score or two. Still some life here.
Most definitely, and not just 3rd down, it's 3rd and very long here, 3rd and 16 to be exact.
Mustangs making some switches defensively, and Drapeau going to take advantage over that left side. Finds Tabuto, dancing a bit, puts on the moves, and he is wrapped up and brought down by Jacob Kreese.
I don't know if you saw that. Number 29 on the Mustangs rushing in just right before that play started. And Drapeau had a wide open receiver here up on the top. Didn't see it in time to throw it to him, but if he did, could have been disastrous for the Mustangs.
Yeah, that was a quick throw there from Drapeau. It looked like Keyshawn Tabuto might have been his first read. Immediately went over to him, was able to get past Trip Nabin and Cam Blivens, but plenty of Mustangs in the area to make that tackle, get that stop, and now Lipscomb Academy going to hope to get their offense back out on the field as McCallie set to punt this one away. And a flag going to be thrown. As back to punt it was Malachi Jacob. This is the first time we've seen McCallie punt it so far today. And the call going to be against McCallie. So that'll push him back 5 yards further.
Blivens will be back to return.
Jacob, he was the punter for this team a season ago. Also plays safety on the starting defense. Boots this one away, was pressured by Trip Naiman. A wobbler over towards the left side, takes a high bounce, and will fall at the 40.
Good starting field position here for the Mustangs. Let's see what they can do with it.
7:03 the play.
Line is down to the 40-yard line.
And that is where the Mustangs will start out this next drive. And again, Lipscomb Academy, they still have some life here. You get a quick score, cut it to a 2-possession game, and all of a sudden things get real interesting because that only means 2 more defensive stops and 2 more scores for a Mustangs defense. We've seen create a turnover already today, and a Mustangs offense that we know has a lot of big play threats that we've already seen from guys like Cam Fowler and like Cam Blivens.
Right, so here we go.
Mustangs offense out on the field. White fakes the handoff to Crockett.
They're going deep.
Scrambling, under pressure, evades a few defensive linemen. White looking downfield, has to get it out. He's going to throw it to Z Crockett, who is wrapped up right at the point of the catch. Clock's still going to run as he didn't get out of bounds. And J.C. White, he has had to do a lot of running around in that backfield tonight. He is going to sleep well tonight, to say the least.
Definitely getting his cardio in. He's able to complete that pass, not for a gain, though, but a great job at reeling that in. Z. Crockett.
And they'll mark it officially as a loss of 2, ball on the 38. Clock ticking here for the Mustangs, 6:20 to play.
Cam
White
Fowler
to
right
throw.
here.
Nice blocking from Z. Crockett. White under duress, throws it in the middle of the field, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Ryan Muxlow, the senior DB.
Yeah, and it looks like he kind of lost the grip of the ball there at the end of the throw. Wasn't able to get full power on it.
Second interception on the night for the Mustangs, and McCallie likely going to be feeling pretty good about their chances after that one. They get a turnover. They get the ball back. They are in Lipscomb Academy territory at the 37. And for J.C. White, who has, been nothing short of magical at some points, being able to improvise, create by time, throwing on the run, unfortunately not able to capitalize on that play as he throws that interception to the veteran defensive back as Drapeau back airs it out for Tabuto, and it is caught in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Tornado.
So Tabuto finally breaks through for the touchdown, as he's been looking for one this whole game.
The speedy Keyshawn Tabuto, the future Vanderbilt Commodore, finds the end zone for the first time tonight. A 37-yard score, and McCallie more than likely putting this one to rest. A 48-20 lead for the Blue Tornado as Ben Brewer out to kick the extra point. As good hold, good kick, right down the middle. 49-20 now the score, and McCallie, you got to give them credit. They're defending state champs for a reason, looking for their third straight title. The Mustangs, they had everything going their way at the end of that second quarter, had the ball, only down by 7, coming out of the half, and McCallie shored up, have multiple 3-and-outs they forced the Mustangs offense off of, and there have been very few drives in this second half that they have not scored on. They have scored on all but one drive so far in this second half. And, the Mustangs seem a very, very good team, but the expression, you swing at the king, you best not miss. McCallie, the back-to-back champs for a reason, showing why tonight. You got to give them the credit where it's due.
Yeah, definitely. This McCallie team just, doubtless going into all of their plays, all of their throws, very confident. And there's really no way that you can really get inside their heads coming off a state championship, and this confidence that they have and this maturity. As I mentioned earlier before the game, very saturated team with seniors, and they're just so confident and so ready to play football this year.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the number earlier, 22 seniors across the McCallie roster. So it is a veteran-filled squad, to say the least. And again, this is a matchup that has plenty of fun history over the last couple of years. Lipscomb Academy beating this McCallie team at home in 2023. That was the first and only loss of McCallie's season. And obviously last season in Chattanooga, McCallie winning 42-28 on their home turf. So this has been a close matchup in the past few years, but McCallie has been able to answer every counter that the Mustangs have thrown at them, and the Academy looking to throw a few more punches before the end of the night. 5:40 to go here in the fourth quarter, and the Lipscomb Academy offense will come out onto the field here once again. I think something that makes this so impressive on the McCallie side as well is that this is a Mustangs team that last season did their best work in the fourth quarter. Lipscomb Academy, they outscored teams 68-35 in the fourth quarter of games. So this is a team that tended to get better as the game went on. So again, you got to give McCallie the credit where it's due. They have stepped up so far tonight as J.C. White under duress throws one towards the middle of the field, and that will hop incomplete intended for the big target, number 88, Jack Kleinite.
And those are the scary throws as a quarterback when you're right-handed going this way and you try to throw it back across your body over there. You're not going to get as much power or accuracy on those. Really got to be careful of that when you're throwing back across the body.
By the way, how about that cool telestrator we have? So awesome that we're
it?
able to utilize that this year. A big shout out to everyone at the Lipscomb Academy broadcasting program. Just the work behind the scenes that has been poured into this broadcast, has been poured into the production. You see us in the booth. A big shout out to all the hard-working boys and girls, men and women that are helping put this show on for you guys. It's White under duress. Avoids a tackler, throws to the middle of the field, finds Cam Blivens. Nice little dance move. Blivens still on the run. He's brought down at the 48-yard line. That's a 28-yard reception for Cam Blivens. As Jack Kleinite, he had his helmet ripped off there. He's looking for a penalty, but unfortunately not going to find it. Malachi Jacob with the tackle for McCallie.
Blivens still shining.
5:08 to play. Two wideouts to each side. White fakes a throw, airs it out to Blivens towards the sideline, able to haul that in. Gets it past the first down marker and into McCallie territory here.
A little pump fake he did, make the DBs doubt that he's going to throw it over there and then fire it right back.
We don't have the exact numbers, but J.C. White, he has got to be either over or around that 50 throw mark. He has been busy tonight. He's going to get another crack at it here. White throwing towards the right sideline. He's just going to let that one go out of bounds harmlessly. Second down coming up. Clock stops at 4:29.
That one very well covered in the middle of the field, as well as only about one or two wide receivers on that right side of the field from J.C. White's perspective. So not a good throw to make, and he recognized it and threw it out. Great job, J.C. White.
Second down and 10 coming up from the 42-yard line in Blue Tornado territory. Mustangs on the move. Two backs in the backfield with White, a bunch formation. Low snap to the right hip. White dancing again in the backfield, airing this one out and out of bounds, incomplete. Just throwing that one away, didn't see anything he liked downfield. A little bit of trash talking there from the linebacker defensive back, Gabe Abercrombie. Yeah, this has been a chippy matchup between these two teams, man. They've been chomping at the bit to get at somebody, and you know that first game of the year always going to be a little bit chippier more times than not, especially when it is a familiar face. Two really respectable programs, two of the finest programs you'll find in Tennessee. Both very competitive. You've seen that throughout the night so far tonight. Third down and 10 here coming up. White grabs the snap, looking left, airs it out deep, looking for Blivens. He didn't even see it. Very handsy. It was two D-backs on him, but no flag, as I think the official's probably thinking that wasn't a catchable ball more than likely.
I would agree.
So fourth down and 10 coming up with 3:58 to play. Lipscomb Academy looking to keep this drive alive here. And obviously for the Mustangs, just 3:58 to play, down by 29, more than likely the result is the result, but any momentum you can get, any good film you can get coming in the next week, you will happily take. So every snap valuable. We'll see what they can do here on this fourth down and 10 situation.
This is where you try out your new stuff.
White looking downfield, throws it for Z Crockett. A little bit over him, could not haul it in. Turnover on downs. McCallie will take over. .347 to play here in this fourth quarter. Another turnover on downs for the Mustangs. As McCallie will get back out on offense, and the Mustangs going to look to try to, again, get some positive momentum going their way here. As, again, they look forward to Ravenwood next week. We've got a quarterback change on the side of McCallie. The sophomore Louis Fortier will come in for Elliot Drapeau, who looks like his night is done. A quick handoff to the tailback.
Looks like they're both about the same size.
And out to Kelby Barnett, who also is listed at quarterback. So you got a 2-quarterback backfield back there from McCallie. Both of them getting some time here late in this one.
Gotta love it.
3:20 to play here. As Fortier will take the snap. Back to throw. Fortier towards the middle of the field, finds a man in Patrick Myers. Let's see what they rule it. And they'll say he did haul it in, so a first down for McCallie. That one was awful close, but they'll say he had it before it hit the ground. Obviously, no instant replay here in Tennessee on the high school level, and a flag going to be thrown over on the Mustang sideline.
Yeah, I would say from my perspective that ball did look like it had a little bit of bounce off the turf, but a great job from that receiver covering that up and hauling it in, whether if it was off the ground or if it wasn't.
Officials stopping play, going over to the Mustangs sideline to pick up that flag. And it is going to go against Lipscomb Academy as potentially an unsportsmanlike conduct or a sideline warning. Now I'll push McCallie up from the 40 to the 25-yard line. As this clock continues to wind down, 2:35 to play, Mustangs looking to get one more stop here at least to end the night. Fortier to throw, finds his man to the right side. That's Antonio Burden, the sophomore wideout / defensive back. Gets a respectable gain there to the 18-yard line. Second down and 3 coming up. Gain of 7 there from Burden. Past the 2-minute mark. McCallie in the red zone. Fortier throwing on the move, finds his man in Wilson Pollock, the tight end. Pushes his way forward to some extra yards out of bounds. Clock's going to keep on running. As will actually, yes, they will push him forward for that first down. Ball marked at the 12-yard line. So you look a little bit forward here to next week for the Mustangs. As we mentioned, that game against Ravenwood, that'll be right here at the Reese Smith Athletic Complex. You can catch live broadcast coverage of that game with us here on the Lipscomb Academy Football YouTube channel. We'll be right here on the call with you, covering all the home games as a McCallie pitch to Kelby Barnett. A McCallie touchdown from the looks of it. And it is touchdown Blue Tornado. McCallie padding on to their lead, 55-20 now the score. As McCallie, the good times are rolling for them here so far tonight.
I'd say so.
The time continuing the run with 1:23 remaining.
Like I said, this is the time where you try out those new formations, try out those new things, see how they work in a real game, in real time, and hatch out those problems that you need to deal with in the next game and find out where they are so, you know, you won't make them in the next game.
The clock did stop. The officials are waiting as McCallie gets their extra point unit back out there. As it's still Ben Brewer that's set to kick this one from the 2-yard line. Clean snap, clean hold, and right down the middle. Looked like maybe Lipscomb Academy got a piece of that one, but nevertheless still finds its way through the upright. 56-20 McCallie, now your score with 1:13 remaining here in this one. As we mentioned, Ravenwood on the horizon next week. Obviously, the Mustangs not going to be happy with the result in this one, but you saw some positive things, you saw some flashes, and a lot of film that they'll be able to look at as they get ready for another tough opponent in Ravenwood next week.
Most definitely. So we see the kickoff crew come back out here.
Yeah, special teams unit coming on out. As we bring you into the booth with us, Brandon Bigsby alongside my partner Gideon here, and again, the Mustangs, things look good for them coming into halftime at a 21-0 deficit cut to just one score with 21-14. Cam Blivens and J.C. White, between the two of them, they had this stadium absolutely buzzing. But McCallie, they were able to put all that momentum to a halt beginning at the second half. Got a few quick 3-and-outs, a few touchdowns to follow, and the Blue Tornado have rolled through ever since. Mustangs, they've shown plenty of fight in this one, but nevertheless, going to start the season 0-1 as that kickoff from Brewer reaches the end zone for a touchback. As the clock continues to run here, and the Mustangs more than likely going to get at least one more play here. We'll see what they decide to do, as J.C. White and that starting offense will trot out onto the field one final time. And the play clock is not moving just yet, so the clock's still ticking. Mustangs, they don't have to snap it if they don't want to. We'll see what they decide to do here. Like I mentioned, every snap obviously valuable, so don't be surprised if Jamie Graham wants to run at least one more play, as it looks like he will. 3 wide outs to the right side, 1 to the left. White gonna just hand this one off. And McCallie stuffed that run at the line of scrimmage, and that will bring the clock to 0-0s. As that'll do it, McCallie, a 56-20 win over the Lipscomb Mustangs. The Mustangs start out with a tough loss, but again, against the back-to-back defending state champs, one of the toughest opponents that anyone will see this season. The Mustangs showing a lot of fight. We saw some promise from some of those young guys, and it'll be really interesting to see what this team looks like, what that step forward next week could look like for this Mustang squad heading into week 2.
Right, and what can you take from this game and repair on your side? And, you know, what can you find, those little mistakes, those little plays that obviously led to that loss here, and correct in the next game?
Once again, the Mustangs back at home next week for a matchup against Ravenwood. We will have the broadcast coverage for you right here at the Lipscomb Academy Football YouTube channel. Coverage starting at right around 6:40, kickoff set for 7 p.m. Central. We thank you all for joining us here tonight, spending your Friday night with us. For everyone at Lipscomb Academy Broadcasting, for my amazing broadcast partner, Gideon Carter, my name is Brandon Bigsby. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a blessed night and a blessed rest of your weekend.
Good night.